Welcome to Anime T23, where we dive deep into the most intriguing what-if scenarios in the anime universe. In today's episode, in a world where he was cast aside, ignored, and neglected, Naruto Uzumaki is about to uncover the darkest secrets of his lineage and awaken the most dangerous eyes the world has ever seen. But will the power of the Sharingan save him from the village's scorn, or will it consume him entirely? What if Naruto was neglected by his family and had the strongest Sharingan? Final part. Flashback, and oh, Jutsu line Naruto gave them a smile. I guess they're finally understanding the true purpose of this drill. Without warning, Naruto activated his Sharingan and looked to the right and left. Someone's here. No, I can sense 7 chakra signatures. Naruto's head cocked to his right, where Daichi was sitting. Daichi, get over here now. Everyone suddenly turned to Daichi, who had been sitting not too far away. Daichi, not wasting a second, quickly begun to run to Naruto. That's when Naruto saw a shadow creep up behind him. Who is that? What's going on? Asked Aiko. Naruto didn't answer, and he quickly unsealed the executioner's blade from the seal on his wrist. In what looked like an instant, he shunned shine between Daichi and the intruder and slammed the blade in between them. Line not wasting a second, Naruto quickly grabbed Daichi and jumped back to the rest of the group. Naruto gritted his teeth as 3 hooded figures stepped forward. "You're quick, little brat," spoke one of the hidden figures. Naruto narrowed his eyes. "A girl? Who are you? What do you want?" asked Naruto. The tallest figure stepped forward and pulled out a kunai. Then Naruto watched in surprise as one of them pulled out an enormous sword. Naruto's eyes widened as he stared at the bandaged-up, dual-hilted sword. That's one of the... Naruto looked down at his executioner's blade. "Are you Dash?" Before he got the chance to look back up, the 3rd hooded figure was upon him. Naruto's eyes widened, and with no time to react, the hooded figure stabbed a kunai straight into Naruto's stomach. Naruto's eyes widened as he began to cough out blood. "From the hidden mist? Does it matter?" "You're already finished," replied the hooded figure. "Akane!" shouted the tallest hooded figure. Akane merely shook her head. "Shut it, Ao. I told you this was a waste of time." "Brother!" shouted Haruka. The rest of the Uchiha backed up a little. "Naruto?" Naruto simply coughed more blood. "What are you after?" "You purposely missed a vital spot, so you aren't trying to kill me." "Akane!" "Snap out of it," shouted Ao. Akane turned around. "Ao, just shut Dash." Akane's eyes widened in shock as she gazed upon Naruto and the rest of the Uchiha. Turning around, she was even more shocked to see that she had a kunai pressed against Chojuro. "Akane, please don't kill me." Akane growled and turned around. "Don't be an idiot, Chojuro." "What just happened?" Genjutsu spoke. Ao. "Maybe if you hadn't rushed in, then you wouldn't have fallen for it. This boy is exceptionally skilled in it. He didn't even sign a single hand sign, and he had all of us under it. The circulation of chakra in his right eye. He has a dojutsu. What a minute. I know the circulation." Naruto's eyes widened in shock. "Oh, is it? I'm assuming you are the leader of this small group. So stop wasting my time, and tell me, what are you here for? Why go as far as to set up a barrier to keep us trapped?" "We told you we weren't answering," shouted Akane as she weaved a few hand seals. Lava release. Volcanic ash. Naruto's Sharingan followed the hand seals. A mixture of earth and fire-based hand seals? "I can't copy them." Naruto gritted his teeth and weaved his own hand signs. Then suddenly Akane launched a bunch of volcanic ash from her mouth. Naruto then finished his last hand seal. Water release. Water trumpet jutsu. The 2 jutsus collided, and the volcanic ash covered the area. Naruto kneeled down and covered his mouth. A smoke screen? I should have used a wind-based jutsu to blow it away, but I couldn't recognize the jutsu fast enough. Suddenly the sound of coughing brought his attention behind him. "Ne'er cough," to grunted Ken. "I dash asterisk cough asterisk can't breaths. I've been too careless. I forgot about them." Naruto looked back. Hold your breath, Dash. Naruto brought up the executioner's blade and blocked Akane's strike. Then suddenly Chojuro appeared by her side, and he launched his own attack. He thrust his sword across his body and was planning to hit Naruto. Naruto kicked Akane back and ducked under Chojuro's blade. Not wasting any time, he punched Chojuro straight in the gut and followed with a knee to the face. Chojuro fell back, and suddenly Ao was upon him as well. Naruto had only enough time to dodge as Ao attacked with his kunai. Naruto gritted his teeth, and his Sharingan begun spinning wildly. Demonic illusion, acupuncture needle illusion. Naruto watched as Ao suddenly froze and completely stopped moving. Jumping back, he flashed through some hand seals. Hidden mist jutsu before the mist completely engulfed him. Naruto frowned as he watched Ao break his genjutsu without the help of his teammates, just as I thought, there's no other explanation there after the Sharingan. That would explain that. Line Akane, Ao, and Chojuro regrouped. Ao growled, "We have only 8 minutes now. Stop messing around. We'll teach him that using this jutsu was his biggest mistake. I can't believe this brat would use our own jutsu against us." Chojuro sighed. "He's so fast, though." "Shut it, Chojuro. We're taking this kid down," added Akane. "Why don't we use the kids as hostages?" Ao sighed. "It might have to come to that. There's too much at stake for us to lose this fight." Akane nodded. "Here's the plan. Chojuro and I will face him head on. Then you, Ao, will capture a few of his little brats." Ao nodded. "All right, just remember, we don't kill any of them." "Hi!" shouted both Chojuro and Akane. Line Naruto appeared next to the rest of the young Uchiha. Naruto was surprised to see them in a manji formation. "Nice thinking, Aiko. Are you guys all right?" asked Naruto. Haruka smiled. "You're okay?" "We're fine. They haven't attacked us directly," spoke Katashi. "It looks like they're more concerned about you than us." Aiko nodded. "I think it would be wise if we try to escape now, while this jutsu is covering our escape." Naruto shook his head. "There's 2 reasons that won't work. This jutsu is originated from the hidden mist, so I'm taking quite the gamble with this jutsu. As well, there's a barrier set around us. We can't just run off. Even if we could, I couldn't do that. We would just drag this battle into the village and endanger countless of lives. I'm going to take care of them here and now." "What about us?" asked Ken. "Are we going to help you?" Naruto shook his head. "That won't be necessary. I'm going to get you guys out of here." "But how?" "You said there was a barrier surrounding us," asked Haruka. Naruto closed his eyes and reopened them. Mangekyo Sharingan. Everyone stood stunned as they stared into Naruto's Mangekyo. Katashi's eyes widened. "That pattern. I recognize it. He used that same Sharingan when he fought that bone guy." "Hold hands, now." Without a word, all of them grabbed each other's hand, and Naruto placed his hand on Aiko's shoulder. "Since I won't be going with you, you'll all be placed under a genjutsu. In other words, you'll be knocked out for a while." Katashi looked at Naruto. "What is that?" "You used it last time, too. I'll tell you guys one day, but today isn't that day, Kamui." Both of Naruto's Mangekyo begun to spin. Then suddenly the whole Uchiha family disappeared from sight. Naruto turned around and grabbed both of his eyes. "I guess I'll never get used to that feeling." Taking his hands off his eyes morphed back into his usual Sharingan. "I wasn't planning on using my Mangekyo Sharingan, but now I can't use Kamui to the full extent. If I attempt to teleport anything to that dimension, it will just harm anyone in it." Naruto grabbed the executioner's blade and resealed it back into his wrist. He then unsealed Shirsue's sword. "I'll be able to move faster with this sword. Now where are they?" Naruto disappeared in a shunshin. Line Ao was running through the mist toward the direction of the group of brats. Then his eyes widened as he watched them disappear in thin air. Then suddenly he watched Naruto disappear in a shunshin. What was that? They disappeared in thin air. Before Ao could ponder any more, he quickly lifted his kunai and blocked Naruto's strike. Naruto jumped back and took a couple more swings. Ao quickly blocked and dodged everyone's single strike. Ao quickly ducked and dodged the swing of another Naruto behind him. Ao quickly turned around and got underneath the clone and struck his kunai right through him. As soon as Ao dispelled the clone, he jumped back and faced Naruto head-on. Naruto simply glared at him. "That eye under your eye patch. It's to be a Kugan, isn't it? You're quite a talkative shinobi. Didn't your superiors tell you not to do that in battle?" asked Ao. Naruto growled. "Answer the question. Is that a Byakugan? Yes or no?" "So what if it is?" taunted Ao. Naruto's eyes lit in anger. "Then tell me, how did you get that eye? Depending how you respond, I might not kill you." "I just found it," replied Ao. Naruto was about to attack when his eyes slightly widened, and he looked to his right. An enormous ball of lava was sailing straight for him. Naruto jumped straight into the air, jumping over it. There's no point in using the hidden miss technique if they can perfectly fight in it. It's only hindering me because I can't use my Sharingan Genjutsu. Naruto flashed through some hand signs and clapped his hands. Wind release. Great breakthrough. Naruto watched as the three most shinobi gathered again. Naruto landed to the area across them and stared at them. Naruto gritted his teeth. This isn't going to be easy. Line Akane, Chojuro, and Ao regrouped once again. "Where did the kids go?" asked Akane. Ao shrugged his shoulders. "The boy used a strange teleportation technique. He got them out of here." "A teleportation technique? Then why didn't he leave with them?" asked Chojuro. Akane grinned. "Well, Chojuro, he came to deal with us. That little brat is a bit arrogant to think he can take on all three of us." Suddenly a gust of wind passed through the area, and they watched the mist technique dispel. "I guess he noticed that wasn't going to work on us," boasted Akane. Ao narrowed his eyes. "No. His intentions weren't to fight us using the mist technique, but in order to get an opportunity to get those kids out. As well, he wanted to test out the theory of me having to be a Kugan. I guess he noticed right away, when I dispelled his first couple of Genjutsu with real ease, as well how I've managed to dodge attacks from what should be blind spots." "What? He already figured out you're Byakugan?" asked Chojuro. "But you even haven't used it extensively in battle yet." Ao looked forward as he watched Naruto land in front of them. "Don't take this kid lightly. He is definitely something else." Akane growled. "You're both cowards. I'll take care of him." Akane was about to sign some hand seals when Ao grabbed her hands. "No. Chojuro will attack him while we support. The kid is clearly skilled in ninjutsu, so engaging him in a ninjutsu fight isn't exactly our best choice. He's very skilled in genjutsu, and both me and Chojuro are very good at dispelling genjutsus. Yet Chojuro is more skilled in kenjutsu than this kid, so it will be our job to counter his ninjutsu attacks, while Chojuro takes him down with his kenjutsu." Chojuro's eyes widened. "Me? Are you sure about that, senpai?" "Yes, you. Now go out there and do your job. I swear the newer generation gets wimpier and wimpier," complained Ao. Akane sighed. "Even though I would rather fight than Chojuro over here. Ao brings forth an amazing analyst. His plan is more likely to work." "Let's do this," spoke Akane. The three Miss Shinobi nodded and rushed forward. Naruto watched closely as the three rushed at him. Then his eyes widened as he watched Chojuro's sword glow blue, release Hiramakerii. Naruto watched as the sword turned into a massive longsword. Chojuro swung his sword, and Naruto ducked underneath. The length of his sword is insane. Naruto then rushed toward Chojuro, but he'll pay for it once someone gets underneath. Naruto brought his black-bladed sword and attacked Chojuro. Then, to his surprise, Chojuro managed to quickly block his strike. Naruto then gazed at the sword, so he can control the contraction of the sword. This is going to be tough. Naruto jumped back, and he watched as Chojuro swung his sword at him. Deciding not to block it with his own blade, he rolled to the right and dodged the attack. Naruto's eyes widened as he watched the sword destroy the ground underneath. His sword isn't meant for slashing, it's meant to crush. Naruto rolled up and signed some hand seals. Getting in a sword fight with such a superior Kenjutsu user isn't a bright idea. Fire release. Great fireball jutsu. Naruto launched a decent-sized fireball at Chojuro from point blank. Then suddenly an enormous water wall erupted from the ground. What the? There's no way he had time to cast a jutsu. Naruto's eyes shifted to his left and watched Ao with a tiger seal. He cast a jutsu, but using a water jutsu was to your disadvantage. Naruto flashed through a few hand seals. Water release. Tearing torrents. Chojuro was attempting to jump back when he watched 3 torrents of water explode from the wall. Before Naruto could attack, he felt a hot sensation to his left. Naruto bit his lip. I forgot about her. Not wasting any time, he redirected the jutsu and blocked an incoming lava ball. Jumping back, he dodged any of the lava that got past his jutsu. Naruto breathing increased a little. They work good as a team. No, he's just a great leader. Naruto looked at Ao. His Byakugan allows him to know beforehand when I'm going to cast a jutsu. He then proceeded to block my jutsu and have the redhead counterattack, all while I fight this superior skilled Kenjutsu opponent. So this is their plan. Naruto tried to stare into Ao's eye, but he watched him invertly avoid his gaze. I need to take him out quick. If I'm right, taking him out would disrupt the other two's teamwork and send them straight into chaos. The easiest way would be to just use Tsukuyomi, but my reflexes would slow down. Naruto gritted his teeth. The Tsukuyomi, so powerful, but it's the most costly technique I have. The sudden loss of so much chakra always slows down my reflexes and vision for a short period of time. If my theory isn't right, and those two do manage to work perfectly together, they'll take me down with no sweat. I need to strike fast. Naruto grabbed his sword and launched forward. He quickly attacked Chojuro, but Chojuro managed to block every single of his strikes. Then suddenly he watched Chojuro's blade transform once again, a hammer. Chojuro then brought down his sword with much force, once again causing an enormous dent in the ground. Naruto backflipped out of the way, but on his way down he watched Chojuro's blade transform into the long sword, so his sword doesn't control contraction. It transforms into what he wants. As Naruto landed, he channeled wind chakra down his sword and proceeded to block Chojuro's slice. As soon as the two blades connected, Naruto was slowly starting to get pushed back. Naruto then watched as Akane sneaked behind him, so he extended his blade in order to give her room to unleash an attack. Naruto then slammed his sword down, bringing Chojuro's blade down too. For a split second, Chojuro lost his grip on the sword, allowing Naruto to balance his hand on the top of his sword's hilt. Not wasting a second, he used the sword to jump over Chojuro's blade, and he simply let go of his. The reaction was instantaneous because Naruto's sword was sent sailing straight at Akane. Akane ducked down and barely managed to dodge the blade. Chojuro gulped. Akane, I'm sorry. Naruto used a moment of confusion to attack his target. He quickly rushed at Ao. Ao, who had been expecting an attack on Chojuro, was simply caught off guard. Naruto sliced for his right eye, but to his surprise, the pieces would attach themselves to the eye. Naruto's eyes widened. His earrings? Is that a curse seal? That was too close, breathed Ao, as he used the opportunity to strike. Bringing down a kunai, he lashed at Naruto. Naruto moved his head to the right and received a deep cut on his cheek. Naruto bit his lip, but he then proceeded to his second objection. Staring into the eyes of Ao, his eyes transformed into the 8-rounded star. Then he muttered a single word. Tsukuyomi, the world around Ao shifted. Line Ao couldn't breath. For a moment it felt like he had left reality and entered a nightmare. The sky was pitch black with nothing but a red moon staring down at him. He was shackled down to some table and he couldn't move. Then suddenly 2 large swords appeared above him and fell straight down. Ao screamed as he felt the 2 swords cut right through his eyes. Then suddenly it was gone. Ao opened his eyes, and once again he was shackled to the table. What just happened? Is this Genjutsu? Ao attempted to activate his Byakugan, But his efforts were futile. If this was genjutsu, then I would be able to see right through it. Pathetic. The Byakugan can't fight against this genjutsu. The only thing that can even attempt to dispel this genjutsu is another Sharingan, replied Naruto as he suddenly appeared in front of Ao. Ao stood baffled. As Naruto suddenly appeared, What are you talking about? This is my most powerful genjutsu in my arsenal. Tsukuyomi. In this world, 24 hours will pass, while in reality only a moment will actually occur. This genjutsu controls space and the perception of time, replied Naruto. Space? Asked Ao. Naruto shook his head. Shouldn't have asked. Let me show you. Instantly Naruto disappeared. An enormous monster appeared. Suddenly Ao felt himself unshackled, and the monster grabbed down get him. Ao simply watched as monster threw him inside of his mouth and chewed him down. He felt every ounce of pain as his bones were crushed to crumbs. Then all at once, he was once again shackled down to a table. Ao grunted as his head fell down. That was genjutsu? Naruto appeared once more, shaking his head. 23 hours, 58 minutes and 23 seconds remain. You are now my prisoner. Line and Tsukuyomi Ao eyes fell to the back of his head, and he collapsed to the ground. Naruto took a deep breath, and then Chojuro shouted, Ao! Naruto clenched his fist. Those fools! Then he disappeared in a shunshin, using Ao as a distraction. He appeared behind Chojuro and cut vertically across his back. Naruto closed his eyes as blood sprayed onto his face. It won't kill him, but he won't be getting back up. Chojuro's eyes widened, and he fell onto his stomach. Naruto fell to one knee as he attempted to catch his breath. That's when Akane arrived onto the scene. Naruto simply stared at Akane's, whose expression said it all. Akane simply shouted, I'm going to kill you. Naruto closed his eyes again. That's enough. Neither of them are dead, Akane Terumi. Akane's eyes widened. What are you? How do you know my name? Naruto's eyes opened again, revealing his Sharingan. My Sharingan is more powerful than you think. When I caught Ao in my genjutsu, I extracted all of his information from him. Then that means... Naruto nodded. I know about this little test, and let me tell you one thing. I'm not going to fight you anymore. I don't care about your little biju. You can keep it for yourselves. You win. Akane clenched her fist. Then why did you have to cut down Chojuro? I don't know. I didn't think I could calm him down. He was really into the little fight of ours, replied Naruto. Akane crossed the space between Naruto and her and slammed her fist right into his face. Naruto was sent flying back, and Akane growled, I don't like you. Naruto was about to shout when suddenly Tsunade and Mei appeared in front of Naruto. Naruto glared at Tsunade and pointed a finger. Hey! What's your problem, old hag? How can you allow this to Naruto was suddenly punched to the ground, and Tsunade was towering over him with a tick mark on her forehead. Show some respect, brat. We have guests here. Mei gave a nervous smile. There goes her temper. Naruto picked himself up and pointed at the other guests. Guests? They were trying to brutally take me down. So, how did you figure it out? Asked Mei. Naruto looked at Mei. Mei Terumi, the leader of the Rebellion of the Mist. I must say, I never expected to see someone like you asking for my help. Mei's eyes widened. Wait, I cast your little Byakugan friend under a genjutsu. I brutally tortured him and I got the information I wanted. If I had known that it was an ally, I would have never caught him under that genjutsu, replied Naruto as he glared at Tsunade. Mei looked at Ao. So, when is he going to wake up? I don't know. Maybe a few days with Tsunade's help, replied Naruto. Tsunade looked at him. You used that jutsu? What's so special about it? Asked Akane as she walked into the conversation. Tsunade sighed. It was expected. His genjutsu attacks the mental state of one's mind. It can completely destroy one's mental health, if used to its full potential. Anyways, let's go talk about this somewhere else, spoke Tsunade. Line. A few hours later, Naruto was walking down the village with a bag of ice on his face, after being punched by Akane, Tsunade, then Haruka and Aiko. His face was starting to hurt. Naruto simply sulked as he walked down the village. Isn't this just great? Why can't people be more appreciative? No! They have to go hit me in the face. Naruto growled silently as he started thinking back. First, Akane smacked me in the face for taking down Chojuro. The man was quite pleased that I thought he was too much of a threat to calm down. Then Tsunade hits me in the face, when this whole situation was her fault. Then when I released the rest of the brats, Aiko and Haruka punched me in the face for catching them under a genjutsu. Arg! Why can't people be more apperdash? Naruto suddenly bumped into someone, and he heard a bag of groceries fall to the ground. Watch where you're going. I'm sorry. Let me help you. Naruto quickly got down and started to pick up the person's stuff. Then when he looked up, he was taken back to be staring at Mito. Mito? Naruto? Lying a few hours before, Minato rushed into his office. If I hurry, I can get to the mission center and hear the official details of the mission. Though as soon as he walked into his private office in his house, he was surprised to see Jiraiya in his chair. Jiraiya? What are you doing here? Can't stop by to see my own student, asked Jiraiya as he gave him a big grin. Minato sighed. You leave for 8 years and return, then suddenly disappear for 4 months. Straight to the point. Then I'll also be blunt as well. I want to take Naruto and Mito on a training trip for at least 2 years, replied Jiraiya. Minato's eyes widened. What? Why? You've heard of the Akatsuki. That's the main reason why I've been gone for the past 8 years, replied Jiraiya. I even heard you guys had a little run-in with 2 of its members, Kisame and Itachi. Minato closed the door behind him. Your intel was spot on. We were careless to let them get in like that. Jiraiya shook his head. No matter what you did, it would have been near impossible to stop Itachi Uchiha from getting in, especially when we were just recovering from Orochimaru's attack. That still doesn't answer the question. Why do you want to take Mito and Naruto? Asked Minato. Jiraiya sighed. If my calculations are correct, the Akatsuki won't make another big move like that for at least 2 more years. It's best if I train Mito to prepare herself against them. There are currently around 10 S-rank ninjas who could easily take her down in an instant in her current condition. As for Naruto, he also needs to get strong. The potential he has shown is immense, and I'm sure he too will become a target for the Akatsuki. Not because he's a Jinchuriki, because of his relationships with them. If Naruto was captured, what do you think Kushina would do? Asked Jiraiya. Minato looked down. She would probably go after him, without a second's thought. As well, not only that, but Naruto's Sharingan is invaluable. If we can teach him how to improve on his Sharingan abilities, it would be extremely valuable to Mito's Jinchuriki training. I've been thinking that Sage Mode could very well help him do that, replied Jiraiya. As well, the experience would be extremely valuable for him. Minato sighed as he took a seat on his coach. That won't be necessary. Naruto has already proven that he can completely subdue a Jinchuriki with his visual prowesses alone. What are you talking about? Asked Jiraiya. Minato sighed. A lots have happened after you left. First off, Naruto joined AMBU Black Ops, and he had a little run-in with Kyomo's Jinchuriki. Apparently, Naruto managed to gain complete control of her by taming the beast inside of her. Jiraiya's eyes widened. Then he let out a loud laugh. That brat? Who would have thought he would become so powerful so fast? I still remember his little pranks he would pull, and how he would go around screaming he would be the best ninja ever. Naruto sure has grown up into a splendid young man. But still, why can't I take him? Minato was going to reply, when he suddenly saw the door open. Mito was standing in the doorframe, completely shocked. Then she let out a small smile. Dad, Mom told me to go get her something from the store. I was wondering if you wanted something. Minato shook his head, but before he responded, Mito dashed out. Bye, Dad. Minato pinched his nose and slammed the door shut. You think? Yes. She probably heard everything. That's probably why she ran away. Let's just get back on track, replied Jiraiya. Minato nodded. Naruto can't join because he's been asked to take on a mission for the Mist. The length of the mission could range from a few months to a few years. The Bloody Mist? Aren't they in a civil war? Asked Jiraiya. Minato shook his head. The rebellion leader, Meitarumi, came seeking Naruto's help. She believes that Naruto's Sharingan could help them end the war, since the fourth mizukage is a Jinchuriki. Jiraiya smirked. He's not only powerful, but he's got the ladies following him too. I'm so proud. Minato smacked Jiraiya across the face. This isn't a joke. Jiraiya sighed, just trying to lighten up the mood. You're so tensed up. So, I guess I'm not taking Naruto. How about Mito? Asked Jiraiya. Minato clenched his nose. Kushina is going to kill me. Line, Mito. Naruto? Suddenly Mito gave Naruto a big hug, and she begun to cry. Naruto, caught off guard, sat there dumbfounded. Looking around, he noticed they were attracting attention. Naruto quickly grabbed Mito and her stuff, and quickly shunshined out of there. Appearing on the top of a rooftop, he held Mito in his arms. What's wrong, Mito? It's my fault, isn't it? That's why Itachi came to the village, asked Mito. Naruto looked down at Mito. What are you talking about? The Akatsuki. They're after me, aren't they? And Mother too? Asked Mito. Naruto sighed. They finally told you. No. I overheard a conversation with Father and Jiraiya, replied Mito. Naruto looked up to the sky. The Akatsuki, an organization rumored to be containing several S-rank ninjas. This organization's purpose is probably to capture the tailed beasts. That includes the ones inside you and Mom. Is that why? Why you were in such a rush to get stronger and you joined ANBU? Asked Mito. It's all my fault, isn't it? Naruto laughed and Mito glared. It's not funny. Of course it is. Mito, it isn't your fault. You can't control the actions of other people. The only thing you can do is control your own fate, and the best way to do that is just to get stronger and crush this foe, replied Naruto. What if I can't get stronger? Asked Mito. But you can because I believe in you, Mito, responded Naruto. Mito looked down. It's easy for you to say, you're so strong. You're my age and you're already in ANBU Black Ops. I'm not even Chunin. That is tough, isn't it? But that's all life is, replied Naruto. The only thing you can do is keep pushing harder, because the only people that make changes are the people who are willing to go against the tide. Naruto stood up and carried Mito bridal style. Let's go home before Mother begins to worry. She's probably going to panic after I tell her about the news I have to say. Line Naruto walked into his house with Mito by his side, and comforting silence rang over them as they walked in. The moment they walked in, they were greeted by the lovely sound of their mother. Mito, you're late. Mito gulped. I'm coming, Mom. What's in the bag? Asked Naruto as he accompanied Mito. Mito responded, yarn. Mother was making an outfit for the baby. Mito and Naruto walked down the hall and opened the new room that had been set up in the house. The room was a light red, almost making it look pink. At the moment the room was pretty plain, but Naruto expected that to change soon. Though there was one thing in this bare red room, and that was their mother rocking in a rocking chair. She was hard at work with a half-finished shirt. Kushina smiled as she watched her son walk in. Naruto, back so early? I was expecting you to be gone all day. That was the plan, but something came up, relied Naruto. Mito handed Kushina the bag, and Kushina carefully took out a wool of yarn. Oh, really? Did you get called in for some ANBU mission? Though I thought they promised not to call you in on this day. Not exactly, replied Naruto as he moved toward the window. Kushina looked up. Well, what is it? Don't let me play some guessing game. Come on, spill it. I've taken a new mission, replied Naruto. It's mission ranking from S to an SS rank mission. Kushina dropped the wool, and Mito was alarmed. SS rank? I've never heard of a rank that high. Kushina narrowed her eyes and slowly stood up. Naruto watched as she struggled. Due to her swollen belly, SS rank? Missions of those caliber usually include highly classified political missions, or long-term missions. I haven't heard of one being called in since the Third Great Shinobi War. What's the mission? Naruto looked over at Kushina. I'll be gone soon, and I don't know when I'm coming back. What do you mean? What's this mission? Demanded Kushina as she begun to raise her voice. Naruto closed his eyes. I've been hired to take a job in the Hidden Mist Village. The Bloody Mist? What could they possibly want with you? Aren't they in a civil war? Asked Kushina. The mission is quite simple. Kill the fourth mizukage, finished Naruto as he opened his eyes. Kushina stopped breathing. Kill the fourth mizukage? Akage? What are you talking about? There's no way. That's complete suicide. To challenge Akage, there's no way you're going, roared Kushina. Naruto's eyes widened as he watched Kushina's eyes turn bloody red. Is the seal already that weak? That Minato, what is he thinking? How could he possibly allow this? Isn't there someone else to take the job? Questioned Kushina as chakra begun to become visible. Mito stood back. The nine tails chakra. It's becoming visible. Naruto's eyes flashed into the Sharingan, and Kushina watched as it morphed into the eight-rounded star. Suddenly, Kushina felt her whole body freeze. The influence of the nine tails completely gone. What just happened? The influence? It's gone. Naruto's saddened eyes told the story. I understand your concern, but there's a reason why no one else can do it. My eyes are capable of suppressing a tailed beast. The fourth mizukage is a Jinchuriki. You must understand. Naruto sighed. I was really looking forward to meeting my new little brother. I guess the meeting will have to wait. This is a goodbye, mother. Mito looked over to Kushina. She watched as Kushina's eyes went blank, and she fell to the ground. Mito caught Kushina and placed her down in her chair. Was that really necessary? I mean, you managed to calm me down. Why not do the same? Naruto sighed. There's a difference between you and Mom. For one, you're not pregnant. Two, she's Mom. There's no controlling her once she gets mad. Mito cracked a smile. But you just did. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. I guess I did. Suddenly, Minato appeared at the window. I see you beat me to tell her. You knocked her out? I had no choice, didn't you feel it? Asked Naruto. Minato nodded. I did, that's why I rushed over here. But you got it under control. So, what time am I leaving? Asked Naruto. Minato sighed. You'll leave at sunset. May is in a rush to get back. Naruto looked out the window. That gives me an hour. I guess this is a goodbye, Dad, Mito. Mito gave Naruto a hug. I'll miss you, brother. Minato came over and gave both of them a one-arm hug. I'll miss you too. If your mother doesn't kill me, you might see me when you come back. Naruto smiled, and they let go of them. Don't worry. Mother was the one to show mercy anyways. Minato laughed. I'm sure she's going to give you a beating when you come back too. I'll be glad to receive it, joked Naruto, as long as it means I come back. Suddenly a shadow clone appears at the door with a bag in its hand. Naruto takes the pack, and the shadow clone dispels. I'll see you guys soon. Line. Training Ground 4. Naruto walked into Training Ground 4, and a wave of nostalgia ran through his veins. Memories ran through his skull as he remembered the training he did with his Team 11. He walked deeper into the forest and was surprised by the beautiful fall trees. A crisp wind blew through the area, causing a shower of red and yellow leaves to fall on Naruto. Naruto stood for a minute and allowed himself to bathe in the shower of leaves. I'm sure going to miss Konoha. Then suddenly he walked onto a battle scene between Yamato, Yakumo, Sai, and Sakura. Naruto watched as the three genin battled Yamato extensively. As soon as he walked in, he quickly caught Sai's gaze. Sai suddenly stopped moving, and Yakumo yelled at him, "What are you, do-dash?" Yakumo looked in the direction in which Naruto was standing. She let out a too big of a smile. Naruto, is that really you? It's been weeks since we've seen you. Yamato turned around. So you came back already? I guess A and B was too tough for you. Yeah, right. And even if I did, it looks like someone already replaced me, replied Naruto. Sakura suddenly turned red. Of course not. It's just that the Chunin exams are coming up, and I joined up with Team 11 since Sasuke already became a Chunin. Calm down, Sakura. I'm just kidding. I actually came to say goodbye, replied Naruto as he looked at his former team. I'll be leaving for a long-term mission, and I don't know if I will return. Long-term missions? Those are only appointed to Jounins, replied Sai, and then he smirked. I guess that means you're now a Jounin. Yamato's eyes widened. Since when, Naruto? Sakura's mouth fell open. What? Naruto's already a Jounin? But he only left the academy a little over a year ago. Naruto smiled. Couldn't get one past you, Sai. I was just promoted a few hours ago. When I received my mission, suddenly Yakuma gave him a hug. Good luck, Naruto. It seems you're getting closer to your dream every day. Yakumo let go of her hug. Don't worry. When you come back, we will close that gap by 1 rank. So don't go getting a big head. This is a little sudden, but I wish you luck, Naruto, replied Yamato. Then Sai gave him a serious face. Don't dye whiskers. It won't be the same without you. Don't worry about me, I'll be fine, replied Naruto as he turned around. I'm kind in a rush to leave, so this is a goodbye. Naruto simply walked out the same way he came in, and Yakumo sighed. He was never good with goodbyes. I guess that's the best we would get from him. Sasuke sighed as he entered his apartment complex. Having moved out of the Uchiha district years ago, he now enjoyed his peaceful apartment. Having just finished his last assignment, he walked into his apartment. He was quickly alerted when he saw Naruto at his table all packed up. Sasuke sighed. So, they finally kicked you out? Naruto looked up and deadpanned. What? No. And what do you mean by finally? Sasuke shrugged. I don't know. I felt like something like that would happen. Knowing you, Naruto's sweat dropped. I came here to say goodbye. Goodbye? Asked Sasuke. Naruto nodded. I've taken a long-term mission, and I don't know when I'll return. It could be weeks, months, or even years. So I came for 2 things. To say goodbye and give you this. Naruto pulled out a scroll and handed it to Sasuke. Sasuke grabbed the scroll and looked at Naruto. What's this? Naruto shrugged his shoulders. I don't know. You need to open it to find out. I'll see you. Sasuke, take care of everyone while I'm gone. Naruto was about to walk out when Sasuke grabbed his shoulder. Did you tell them too? The rest of the clan? No, replied Naruto. Sasuke's eyes widened. Why not? It's much simpler this way. If I told them, they wouldn't want me to leave. Heck, I'll be surprised if they tied me down, replied Naruto as he cracked a smile. It's a lot easier for them and me. See ya. Then Naruto poofed out of existence. Sasuke sneered. Of course he would send a shadow clone. Sasuke unrolled the scroll and his eyes widened. ANBUINB-. Line Naruto sat at the edge of a small cliff, with his forehead protector in his hand. He watched as the sun finally set. It looks like I'll be taking a new mission, Shursui. I hope you can look over my family and friends when I'm gone. Their safety is the only thing that matters to me. Naruto sat in thought when he heard footsteps walk up behind him. Quickly turning around, he was surprised to see nothing there. Then his eyes widened in alert, and he jumped to the side. Suddenly, chains erupted from all directions. These chains... Naruto was quickly tied down to the ground, and Kushina appeared towering over him. Naruto looked up at his mother. Is it safe for you to be using that in your condition? Kushina glared on Naruto. Don't try to redirect the conversation here. Your genjutsu trick may have worked on me, but it isn't permanent. May I remind you, I was once a shinobi too. Mom! You dashed. Naruto didn't finish as his mother punched his face into the ground. Listen here, Squirt. I've lived in this world longer than you, and I know sometimes we have to do things that seem extremely dangerous. I'm not here to stop you, but I just wanted to tell you one thing. Naruto suddenly felt the chains loosen around him, and he stood up. Kushina quickly gave him a hug. Please don't die. If you do, I won't ever forgive you. Got that, Databane? Naruto felt a liquid splash on his neck, and realized it was his mother's tears. I left something in your bag. Then suddenly she pierced Naruto's stomach with a kunai. Naruto coughed blood. What are you, Dash? Suddenly Naruto exploded into a flock of crows, and Kushina gazed at the birds as they flew off. Crow shadow clone illusion. That was Makoto's favorite technique. I told you I was once a shinobi too. Naruto was walking towards the entrance of the village when memories flooded in. Reaching for his bag, he was surprised to pull out a headband and a note. When did she put that there? Naruto pondered on the situation, but came up with no logical answer. Sighing, he turned the headband over and was surprised to see an hidden Eddie village symbol. This is Mother's, Father's headband. Why is she giving me this? Opening the note, it read a simple phrase. Good luck. Naruto cracked a smile. I guess she isn't good with goodbyes either. What a short message. Then Naruto slipped the note into his pocket. He then walked to the gates of Konoha where Team Mei was waiting for him. Akane growled as she held Ao over her shoulder. You're late, squirt. Chojuro stood up straight. You're here, Naruto. Let's get going. Mei nodded. Let's get going. The quicker we get back home, the quicker we can get Ao recovering. Naruto nodded. Let's get going. Team Mei jumped to the trees. Line! Somewhere hidden a room with 9 apparitions. Suddenly an impatient voice yelled out. Why have you called us here, Pain? I was in the middle of converting someone. Shut it, Haydn. I have important matters to discuss, yelled Pain. The rest stayed quick, understanding the message. We have received a new member, his name Kurai. In an instant, a masked figure appeared with the rest of the apparitions. The man opened his eyes and revealed a pair of Sharingan. I am Kurai. Sharingan? Look at that Itachi. It looks like you aren't the last Uchiha, spoke Kisame as he revealed both of his arms. Who is he? Could this be Madara in disguise? Itachi looked at Kisame and then back at Kurai. I don't care. Pain looked at everyone. He will join forces with Zetsu, completing our pairs. That is all I have for you. Then all the apparitions disappeared. 1 year, and 6 months later a vortex opened up in a wet and dark sewer. Water dripped from the top of the sewer, and there was the occasional rumble. As the vortex moved quicker, 2 figures popped out of it, both of them red heads, but one was a boy and another a girl. They were roughly about the same height, but the boy looked much younger. The woman looked like she was in her mid-20s, while the young man in his mid-teens. Naruto, are you ready? Asked the women. Naruto nodded. This is where it all ends. It seems that Ao's distraction worked. Everyone has left the mizukage defenseless. Don't underestimate him. He really doesn't need a defense, replied Mei. Naruto nodded and closed his eyes. He's down this hallway. Let's go. Mei nodded, and they both exploded into a quick sprint. Naruto took point and turned several times until he reached an opening. In the opening stood the 4th mizukage. Naruto narrowed his eyes. He's much shorter than I imagined. Mei pulled out a kunai. This is where it all ends. 4th mizukage. Surrender yourself, or we will kill you. What are you talking about, Madarumi? This is where the real fun begins. Naruto's eyes widened, as he didn't see the mizukage's lip moves. In fact, he hadn't moved a single muscle. Mei gripped her kunai. So you decided to come here yourself. Naruto narrowed his eyes. So Ao's theory was correct. Could this be the fake Madara? Naruto watched as a lone Sharingan appeared from the shadows. The bloody eye illuminated through the darkness. Madarumi and Naruto Uzumaki, you've both been a thorn in my side. So it's time I pluck that thorn out. Naruto's eyes morphed into the 8-rounded star. I could say the same about you. Mei nodded, and they both exploded into a quick sprint. Naruto took point and turned several times until he reached an opening. In the opening stood the 4th mizukage. Naruto narrowed his eyes. He's much shorter than I imagined. Mei pulled out a kunai. This is where it all ends. Fourth mizukage. Surrender yourself, or we will kill you. What are you talking about, Madarumi? This is where the real fun begins. Naruto's eyes widen, as he didn't see the mizukage's lip moves. In fact, he hadn't moved a single muscle. Mei gripped her kunai. So you decided to come here yourself. Naruto narrowed his eyes. So Ao's theory was correct. Could this be the fake Madara? Naruto watched as a lone Sharingan appeared from the shadows. The bloody eye illuminated through the darkness. Madarumi and Naruto Uzumaki, you've both been a thorn in my side. So it's time I plucked that thorn out. Naruto's eyes morphed into the 8-rounded star. I could say the same about you. Line Naruto pulled out Shirsue's blade and got into a stance. Mei pulled out a kunai, getting ready to attack. The masked man merely chuckled. I've heard a lot about you, Naruto Uzumaki. Or should I say the Mirage of the Rebellion? You've been causing quite the problem among my men. Your genjutsu attacks have put much fear into the hearts of my men. Heck, you've taken down some of my finest men. You mean Kisame? I didn't kill him, replied Naruto. I simply tore his arm off and set him ablaze. The fake Madara stayed silent for a second. Kisame? You should know he betrayed me long ago. You would have been doing me a favor by killing that traitor. Naruto's eyes widened. Traitor? I thought this fake Madara was the leader behind the Akatsuki. Shursui said this orange masked man was plotting something big. He was the one behind the Uchiha massacre. If he aided Itachi, why did Itachi end up joining the Akatsuki? You would think that this masked man would want to keep Itachi close. What's going on? Who are you? Asked Mei. Are you the one controlling the mizukage? The masked man laughed. I'm Madara Uchiha Dash. Don't lie. I know for a fact you're not Madara Uchiha. Orochimaru used the Edo Tensei to reanimate him, and he was sealed away by the third Hokage, replied Naruto. The masked man stayed quiet for a minute. That wretched snake. How did he get his hands on Madara's DNA? So, it seems my identity has been compromised, but in the end it doesn't matter because I am Madara's will. I will continue his will and bring forth his plans. You would be wise to not underestimate me, young Uchiha, and Madarumi. Though for now you shall know me as Tobi, replied the orange masked man. Naruto gritted his teeth. This is all so confusing. Tobi, I have so many questions. How dash? Talk time is over. How about we get down to business, replied Tobi. I'm sure you came here to kill me, but the question is, can you? Naruto and Mei gripped their blades tighter. Mei, not taking her gaze off Tobi, asked Naruto, how should we handle this? It would be wise to retreat. This man is on a whole different level. Konoha has information on his abilities, but the only problem is that it would take time to get that information, replied Naruto. Mei took a deep breath. It would be better for us just to confront him here and now. We might not get another chance. What do you know about him? Naruto looked forward. I only know what my mother told me. He was a man behind the Nine Tails attack 15 years ago. Mei's eyes widened. This man? Yes, and he did it all alone. He took out the AMBU squad guarding our Jinchuriki, separated the fourth Hokage from the Jinchuriki, extracted the Nine Tails from the Jinchuriki, and attacked the Hidden Leaf village before a single alarm could be rung. As I said, he's on a whole different level, replied Naruto. Tobi suddenly laughed out loud. Oh, I see. You're the son of Kushina. What a touching reunion. I remember holding you when you were only a child. Tobi's voice suddenly took a deadly tone. I should have killed you then, and maybe you wouldn't be my problem. Mei's eyes widened. This is bad. Naruto looked forward. I'm going to kill you for attacking my mother 15 years ago. Tobi laughed. You think that pathetic Mangekyo Sharingan of yours is enough to kill me? You should know not even Shirsui's Mangekyo was enough to kill me. Shursui! Ah, yes, and I was so close to killing him. It's a shame he got away. I wonder if you're going to be just as amusing as him, taunted Tobi. Mei suddenly felt Naruto leave her side, and when she looked up, Naruto was racing at Tobi. Naruto! Naruto's sword lit up in wind chakra, and he sliced at Toby. Toby merely smirked underneath his mask. Your efforts are futile. Naruto thrust his blade into his heart, and his eyes widened when he phased right through him. Toby suddenly pulled a kunai from out of his sleeve and turned around. The moment Naruto passed through Toby completely, Toby striked. It's over! Naruto's eyes widened in terror, and Mei shouted, Naruto! Toby's eyes widened, and he watched his own attack also phase through Naruto. Naruto smirked, and he lashed out and grabbed Toby's hand. Mei looked at Naruto, and she understood his message. All right, Naruto. Mei weaved through some hand signs. Lava release. Melting apparition technique. A thin sheet of lava erupted from Mei's mouth. The thin sheet of lava went flying high into the air and quickly descended on Naruto and Toby. Toby gritted his teeth, and Naruto suddenly felt his body being sucked into his eye. Touching me was your first mistake. Naruto's body began to shrink and was quickly being pulled into Toby's eye. Then all at once the vortex disappeared, and Naruto's body was untouched. Was it? Toby gritted his teeth. This brat. He already knows how to stop another Kamui with his Kamui. Toby kicked Naruto in the gut, but Naruto refused to let go. The lava jutsu was suddenly upon them. At that split second, Naruto let go of Toby and jumped through the lava. Naruto shielded his head with his arms and simply kept going. Toby was obscured from view. As soon as Naruto passed through the lava, he grunted in pain. Some lava had splashed onto his face, and he was yelling in Agnoi. That hurt. He then tore off his jacket and threw it onto the floor. Mei was quickly at his side. Why did you do that? That jacket might be resistant to my lava release, but it isn't a 100% resistant. Are you trying to get yourself killed? Naruto slowly got up. It was a dumb plan, but it was the only one I could think of. Kamui is a very versatile technique, and he's very good at using. He's definitely better than me. Mei looked forward and watched as Toby's body was covered in hard lava. So, its second ability, this man can use it, right? Naruto nodded his head. Yeah, and is much more proficient than me. From what I could tell, he only made the parts that were touched intangible, thus using less chakra. While I usually have to transport my whole body and waste more chakra in the process. Crack! Naruto watched as the hardened molten rock cracked and the mizukage bolted out. The mizukage was already in a version 2 cloak, with 3 tails sprouted out. Naruto's eyes widened. Mei, be careful. This is a version 2 cloak. Mei looked at the Jinchuriki. I forgot about him. Maybe if you break the Genjutsu on him, we might get him to side on us. Okay, but we need to distract him first, replied Naruto. Mei nodded. I'll take care of that. It's a shame I can't allow you to do that. Came a voice from behind. Naruto's and Mei's eyes widened as they quickly turned around. Naruto pulled out a kunai and thrust at Toby. His kunai simply phased through him, and Toby caught his wrist. Why don't we go for a stroll? Before Naruto could be sucked into Toby's eyes, he yelled out at Mei, Kill the mizukage. I'll keep Toby distract dash. Mei watched as both Naruto and Toby disappeared from view. She then recalled Naruto's words from earlier. Line. Flashback, Naruto was sitting around in some tent. He was sitting in some desk with Mei across him. Mei looked up at him. If our intel is correct, the mizukage will be in this secret hideout. Naruto looked at the map he was pointing at. How can you be sure the intel is safe? It did come from a loyalist. It doesn't matter. We'll attack the base simply because it is a large storage house. Even if the mizukage isn't there, it will be a big blow for them if we destroy it, replied Mei. Naruto sighed. So, we're going to have to prepare for the mizukage then. Mei nodded. Correct. By the way, how do you intend to capture the 3 tails? I don't. What? But I thought the Hidden Leaf wanted the 3 tails in exchange for their help. Asked the mizukage. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. That's true, but I have no intentions on capturing it. I'll just kill mizukage with my Mangekyo, and the 3 tails will die with it. Mei narrowed her eyes. And what makes you think I'll allow that? You owe me, Mei. You know I didn't have to come. It's the least you could do for me, replied Naruto. May rose an eyebrow. I still don't understand. Why don't you want your village to have another tailed beast? Naruto looked away. 'Cause it would mean another Jinchuriki would be created, and there are only a few suitable hosts. One of those options is my new baby brother, and the Akatsuki are still a threat. I won't allow that. May looked at the Naruto. Even though he's still a kid, he's so observant and intelligent, never missing a single detail. He understood what would happen if the Hidden Leaf got their hands on another beast, May sighed. I guess something can get worked out. People do tend to die in the midst of battle. Naruto grinned. I guess so. Line. Flashback. Enmei looked at the raging tailed beast. I guess I have no choice but to kill you, mizukage. Line. Kami Dimension Naruto fell onto a hard platform, and his vision suddenly begun to blur. Genjutsu Kara. With his Sharingan, he broke the genjutsu that was placed upon him. Looking around, he noticed a similarity to his dimension. So all Kami dimensions are similar. I'm impressed you broke the genjutsu that's placed on all that enter my dimension. Naruto looked up to a platform and noticed Toby standing there. You're underestimating my skills if you think such a pitiful genjutsu would defeat me. Not one for compliments, are you? Why don't we get this over with quickly, so I can go tend to your beautiful friend, May, snickered Toby. Naruto looked at him. I thought I told you not to underestimate me. A Toby jumped out of the platform and watched as a kunai embedded itself into the platform. Then in less than a second the dagger, and the platform disappeared. Toby landed on a platform directly across Naruto. That's quite impressive. Combing your Kami abilities with the Susanoo, but how long can you last? Skeletal Susanoo surrounded Naruto with a sword in hand and a kunai in the other. Toby gazed at Naruto with awe. Susanoo? I'm impressed. But it's only dash. Toby once again jumped away as another Susanoo kunai was thrown at him. This time, instead of watching the kunai, Toby watched Naruto. He watched as another kunai begun to slowly form in his Susanoo's hand. So, there's an interval for each time he uses a jutsu, but it isn't very long. Toby grinned and formed a hand seal. Let's see how you handle a widespread attack. Fire release. Great fire annihilation. Toby then unleashed a jet of fire from his mask, and it shaped into a massive wall of fire. Naruto's eyes widened. My Susanoo isn't complete. It's still penetrable. If that hits me, it'll weaken my defense. Naruto's Susanoo suddenly lashed its blade into the storm of fire. All at once the enormous wall of fire was absorbed into the sword. Toby stayed unfazed as he watched his jutsu countered. Toby jumped onto another platform. I see now. The kunai is your offense, while the sword is your defense. Toby stood up. I've wasted enough time. I'll finish this quickly. Toby rose his hand up, and Naruto watched as a platform to his right was sent flying at him. What? Naruto grabbed a dagger and threw it at the platform. The oncoming platform quickly disappeared, but Toby suddenly clapped his hands together. Naruto watched as the platform directly above him descended down. My Kami kunai hasn't formed yet, was on suddenly ascended up, and then Naruto brought his Susanoo sword up and destroyed the platform he was on. Jumping up, he jumped onto the descending platform, and the platform guided him back to Toby. He then pulled out another Kami kunai and threw it at Toby. Toby gritted his teeth. This brat is more of a handful than I thought. Toby jumped out off the platform, and Naruto jumped off his. As Naruto jumped off his Susanoo completely disintegrated. In midair, Naruto tackled Toby onto a platform. Toby managed to roll away and stood up. Naruto did the same, and they glared into each other's eyes. Toby grinned. You looked exhausted. Did that Susanoo take a lot of your chakra? Naruto didn't respond as his heavy breathing answered the question. I used the Kami kunai 4 times, which is equivalent to the use of 1 Kamui from my left eye. As well, I used the Kamui blade, which uses the ability of my right eye. In total, I've used Kamui 5 times, and that time I stopped Toby's Kamui, all while maintaining a Susanoo. The strain in Naruto's eyes became visible, and soon enough Toby started to become a bit of a blur. Toby grinned. You shouldn't have been so hasty. Toby pulled out a kunai, and Naruto pulled out his. Toby rushed at Naruto, and Naruto rushed at Toby. Naruto swiped at Toby's face, and Toby ducked underneath. Toby pulled his blade up and cut Naruto across the chest. Naruto gritted his teeth and managed to catch Toby's wrist. Grabbing his wrist, he pulled Toby in and kneed him in the gut. He then followed up and kicked him in the face, kicking him back. Toby rolled himself up and blocked Naruto's follow-up strike. Kunais clashed together, and sparks illuminated each other's face. Naruto and Toby jumped back. Toby flashed through some hand seals. Fire release. Fireball jutsu. Naruto flashed through his own water release. Water bomb jutsu. A giant fireball erupted from Toby's mouth, and a large condensed ball of water shot out of Naruto's. The two techniques clashed together, and a blanket of steam covered each other. Naruto flashed through some hand seals. Hidden miss technique. Toby, who had landed in the steam, looked around. The steam, it feels cooler now. Toby's jumped to the side and barely dodged a kunai. The hidden miss technique. Toby's turned to his side and dodged the swipe of a blade. He brought his own kunai up and slammed it into Naruto's throat. Then Naruto disappeared in a poof. Shadow clone. Toby suddenly felt a blade dig into his back, and he jumped away. He cut me across my back. I need to get out of the mist. Toby jumped out of the mist and onto another platform. Then all at once, 3 Narutos jumped out of the mist as well. Toby pulled out another kunai and readied himself for the assault of Naruto's. He ducked underneath one's fist and slammed the kunai into his stomach. The clone poofed out of existence, and the second clone attacked Toby. Toby kicked him in his gut and sent him off the platform. One left. Then the last one attacked Toby. Toby merely danced around with him, and he smirked. His movements have gotten very sluggish. The Mangekyo is taking a toll on him. Toby kicked Naruto's feet from underneath him and slammed his hand into his throat. Naruto suddenly coughed out blood as his hand reached Toby's hand. Toby pulled out a kunai and slammed it into Naruto's heart. Naruto's eyes widened in shock, and Toby smirked. I crushed your throat, so now you can't even scream out in pain. Not like it matters, you're now dead. Toby was about to let go Naruto, when suddenly he watched Naruto mouth a couple of words. Toby read his lips. Behind Yo dash, a white beam of light suddenly pierced Toby's heart from behind. Toby's eyes trembled, and he coughed out blood. Before he could respond, he heard wind release. Piercing Rasengan, Toby looked back and saw that Naruto was a few feet away from him. In Naruto's hand was a white ball of chakra that extended itself into Toby's heart. He then heard a small poof, and the clone in his hand vanished. How did you beat me? Naruto looked at him. It was quite easy, actually. This whole time, I was testing the abilities of your Kamui, and I came to one conclusion. Once the caster is in its Kamui's dimension, they can longer use the intangible aspect of Kamui. That's why you dodged my projectile's path. It was because you could no longer use it, correct? Toby gritted his teeth. But that doesn't explain. How? When you exchange yourself with a clone? I can sense everything in this dimension. Naruto grinned. When I used the hidden mist technique, I transported myself to my dimension and had my shadow clones fight you. Every time you popped a shadow clone, I knew what was going on, so it was just a matter of waiting for a time to strike. Naruto released his Rasengan, and Toby fell lifelessly to the ground. Naruto fell to one knee and took a deep breath. I'm so low on chakra, but I still have to return to help Mei. Naruto stood back up and turned around. Then his eyes widened in shock. In front of him stood Toby, completely unscratched. A kunai was inches away from his chest, and Naruto acted quickly. The only thing he could was redirect the kunai into his stomach. Blood exploded from Naruto's mouth as the kunai dug into his gut. He kicked Toby away and jumped back. Naruto's hazy vision became even more hazy. Am I going to die here? Toby laughed out loud. Got you there? Didn't I? Naruto looked up. How? How did you? Toby laughed maniacally. You're so naive, Naruto. I don't expect you to know about the Izanagi. Naruto's eyes widened. You used that forbidden technique? But you still have your Sharingan. I always keep a spare around, replied Toby as he knocked on the right side of his face. Now to finish, that woman. Madarumi, I underestimated her. I can't believe she actually killed Yagura, spoke Toby. As Toby spoke, Naruto continued to cough blood. May, she finished the job. Then my job here is done. Naruto pulled out a smoke bomb and threw it on the ground. Toby raced at blinding speeds. No, you don't. He brought out a kunai and slammed it at Naruto. But his attempts were futile because Naruto managed to transport himself. Toby's kunai slammed into the platform underneath Naruto. Darn. When both eyes of Kamui are used, the speed of the technique is under a second. Toby stood up straight. I could follow him, but it would take too much chakra, and I've wasted enough as it is. You could just send me. Toby watched as a white masked man walked out of the shadows. Ah, I forgot about you. Kurai. The proclaimed Kurai stepped forward. Do you want me to get rid of him? Toby looked at him. There's no need. The injury I gave him should be enough to kill him. Even if he lives, it would be in our favor. Are you sure? He forced you to use your Izanagi. He will become a problem in the future, replied Kurai. Toby shook his head. I underestimated him, that's my fault. But as I said, he's more valuable alive. For now, he probably believes I ain't affiliated with the Akatsuki, so that's what he'll tell his superiors. As well, if we were to follow him, who knows where we teleported himself to? It could be the middle of nowhere, the rebellion camp, the Hidden Leaf Village, or even to the house of the fourth Hokage. It's too risky for now. Kurai's Sharingan glared into Toby's fine. However you wish, master. Toby grinned. Kurai, you want the Bratz Mangekyo Sharingan? Don't worry, you'll get your chance. Line Naruto landed in the middle of a forest. He landed on the ground with a giant thump. Picking himself up, he dragged his body toward the base of a tree. Sitting up, he sat up against the tree. Ugh. I need to stop the bleeding. Naruto looked down at his wound and noticed that he was having trouble seeing. This isn't good. Not good at all. Naruto grabbed the kunai embedded in his gut and yanked it out. He quickly pressed his hand against it in an attempt to stop some of the bleeding. He missed a vital spot, but at this point, I'll just bleed out. Naruto slowly signed an ox hand sign and then a tiger hand seal. Mystical palm technique, a green glow of chakra surrounded Naruto's hand, and he brought it down to his stomach. He sat there for a few moments, and then he released his jutsu. I don't have enough chakra to heal anymore. I only managed to stop the bleeding. Naruto coughed a little bit. He reached for some blood on the ground and smeared it into his palm. If I can summon a crow, I can get help, or dog, bird, monkey. Naruto was one hand seal away when his body finally collapsed. Naruto's body slumped to the side, and he fell into unconsciousness. A group of people moved through the thick forest, men in armor, and with weapons walked around a group of men carrying around a sedan chair. A beautiful blonde-haired teen sat in the chair. One of the men escorting her came up to her. Lady Shine, we will be arriving soon. Good riddance. This journey has been such a long one, exclaimed Cheyenne. The man nodded at Cheyenne and walked back into formation. They continued to walk for a little, while until one of the men at front stopped. What is it? What's with the hold-up? Sir, don't you smell it? It's the smell of fresh blood. He's right. We could be walking onto a ninja battle. A man walked up to Cheyenne. Lady Cheyenne, I think it would be best if we take a different route. Cheyenne sat up for a moment and looked around. I don't think that would be necessary. If it was indeed a ninja battle, there would at least be some damage. I don't see any. It's probably just a bunch of bandits that I'm sure you guys can handle. Just a bunch of bandits that I'm sure you guys can handle. The man thought for a moment and nodded. You're right. All right, you heard the lady. Forge on. The man in front nodded, and they continued for a few feet when the man once again shouted, Sir, There's a body. Cheyenne looked out of her sedan chair. A body? She quickly hopped out of her sedan chair and moved to the front. A guard yelled at her, "Milady, it's best if you not see." "Do I look like a child?" responded Cheyenne as she moved to the gathered group of guards. As she moved closer, she saw a red-haired boy sitting at the base of a tree. He was wearing nothing but a mesh armor shirt and some shinobi black pants. Cheyenne could see the wound in his stomach, but oddly enough, it was no longer bleeding. Looking up, she could see a trail of dry blood coming from both of his eyes. A man looked up to the priestess. "He's still breathing." Cheyenne looked down at the injured body. "Get him into the sedan chair. We'll be taking him with us." "But, my lady, he could be a dangerous shinobi," replied one of her men. Cheyenne shook her head. "Look at his shoulder. That's an AMBU tattoo from the Hidden Leaf Village. Being our allies, we need to take him in and report it to Konoha." The men stood silent for a moment, and Cheyenne angrily yelled out, "Well, what are you waiting for? Get him into the sedan chair." "Yes, ma'am." "Don't call me ma'am. Do I look old to you guys?" "Sorry, ma'am." Never mind, just get him." Flashback, an old jutsu line, "Do I look like a child?" responded Cheyenne as she moved to the gathered group of guards. As she moved closer, she saw a red-haired boy sitting at the base of a tree. He was wearing nothing but a mesh armor shirt and some shinobi black pants. Cheyenne could see the wound in his stomach, but oddly enough, it was no longer bleeding. Looking up, she could see a trail of dry blood coming from both of his eyes. A man looked up to the priestess. "He's still breathing." Cheyenne looked down at the injured body. "Get him into the sedan chair. We'll be taking him with us." "But, my lady, he could be a dangerous shinobi," replied one of her men. Cheyenne shook her head. "Look at his shoulder. That's an AMBU tattoo from the Hidden Leaf Village. Being our allies, we need to take him in and report it to Konoha." The men stood silent for a moment, and Cheyenne angrily yelled out, "Well, what are you waiting for? Get him into the sedan chair." "Yes, ma'am." "Don't call me ma'am. Do I look old to you guys?" "Sorry, ma'am." Never mind, just get him." Line, "Congratulations. Nice job, Lady Hinata. Special Jonin at 15? That's amazing." The Hyuga clan was gathered in the middle of one of the gardens of the main house. There wasn't a lot of people, but just the ones closer to Hinata. Hinata stood near one of the water fountains, with a lot of people crowding her. She was wearing the regular Konoha ninja attire, but her vest represented the fact that she was a special jonin of the village hidden in the leaves. 3 people chatted contently with Hinata. "Nice job, Lady Hinata. 15 and you're already a special jonin," spoke Yuna Hyuga. She gave Hinata a hard pat on the back, causing her to tumble forward a bit. Hinata gave her a sheepish smile. Thank you, Yuna, but it isn't really comparable to you. I mean, you joined AMBU at my age. You shouldn't sell yourself short, Lady Hinata. The average ninja doesn't even acquire the status of special jounin, so you should be proud of your accomplishment," added Niji as she stood next to Yuna. Hinata's cheeks were tinted pink. As she gave them a smile, "I don't know what to say. I really wasn't expecting all these praises." Out of nowhere, a small figure jumped from behind Niji and gave Hinata a big hug. "Great job, big sis." Hinata looked down and was surprised to see her 10-year-old sister. Hinata's embarrassment faded away, and she returned her sister's hug. "Thank you, Hanabi." Yuna rolled her eyes. "Geez, can't believe you listened to your little sister over the wannabe jonin and me." Niji's eyes twitched. "Wannabe jonin? I am a jonin." Yuna pinched Niji's nose and gave it a little squeeze. "Does my little cousin Niji think he's grown up?" "I am grown up. I'm only 3 years younger than you," replied Niji as he swatted her hand away. "And stop pinching my nose." Yuna gave a loud laugh. "Aw, little Niji thinks he's all grown up." Niji was about to complain once again, when Yuna slammed an open palm straight into his stomach. Then, in the blink of an eye, she blocked enough chakra points to completely immobilize him. Niji's body fell straight into the ground, and his eyes shot out in pain. Yuna shook her head. You still think you're grown-ups? Hinata's sweat dropped, but Hanabi looked at Yuna with fascination. Hanabi's eyes flickered between Yuna's gloating smile and Niji's fallen body. Whoa! She's as strong as father said. That's why she's seen as the strongest female Hyuga the clan has ever seen. She didn't even activate her Byakugan, but she already knew where to strike. Suddenly Yuna's head tilted up, and she remained silent for a second. An A&B mission? But today was our off day. Yuna looked at Hanabi and Hinata. I'll see you around Lady Hinata and Lady Hanabi. I have business to attend to. Hinata gave Yuna a nod. I understand. It was nice seeing you, Yuna. Yuna returned Hinata's nod. It was nice seeing you too, Lady Hinata. Yuna stood straight up, and she kicked Niji in the gut. Get up, little cuz. I didn't inflict any permanent damage. Niji glared at Yuna, and Yuna smiled. See ya. Then she disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Hanabi finally spoke. She's so cool? Line two individuals to the side watched the events intently. The head of the clan and the elder of the clan were both in a deep discussion. Ever since Lady Hinata became a genin, she has grown at astonishing rates, spoke the Hyuga elder. In fact, Yuna and Niji blossomed even more during their time as official shinobi of the leaf. They're growing even today. Hayashi's gaze remained frozen on the group of people in front of him. The point is, I think it would be wise if we also put young Hanabi into a genin team, replied the elder. Hayashi next snapped to the side, and he gave his father a bewildered look. Hanabi is the heir. It would be a horrendous idea. The elder shook his head. We are no longer in times of war, Hayashi. We've entered an era where our ninja don't know war. The job of a genin is dangerous, but Hanabi must know that danger. She needs the experience if she is to become capable of becoming head of this clan. If Hanabi was to take the mantle as heir, and we were to enter war, do you really think she would be able to lead this clan without a first-hand experience on the battlefield? Hayashi stayed silent for a moment. Why the rush? She's only 10, and the normal graduation age is either 11 or 12. She can at least wait 1 year. The elder sighed. Do you think I'm a fool, my son? You may be able to hide it from everyone else, but you're not in the best of health. Soon enough you won't be able to properly lead this clan. The point is we don't have much time. We need to get Hanabi ready as soon as possible. Hayashi closed his eyes, and he thought for a second. Reopening them, he looked at his father. Let's say we do go ahead with this plan. Who would become her Jonin sensei? We can't just give her off to anyone. We not only need someone strong enough to protect her from potential enemy ninja after our clan secrets, but also help groom her as a ninja. Elder sighed. That is a problem, but we have 2 months until the next graduation. Getting you ready to graduate won't be difficult, but finding her the right sensei will. Niji is now a Jonin. We could have him take over, or we can have Yuna drop out of AMBU and take over. She is the strongest kunoichi our clan has ever had. Yuna won't drop out of AMBU. The Hokage would never allow that. Yuna's one of their best members, but Niji, he might just fill the bill. Maybe I should overlook his training a bit and help develop the right skills. Even though he is a Jonin, he's still young, and he has tons to learn, spoke Hayashi. The elder nodded. Then we should talk to Lady Tsunade soon. I set up a meeting. Hayashi sighed. I hope I'm not making a mistake. Line. The land of demons Naruto's eyelids blinked quickly a few times. His eyes looked up to a white ceiling. Naruto patiently awaited for his eyes to adjust to the light, but they never did. Looking up at the ceiling, reality dawned upon him. My vision, it's become so blurry. Naruto stood up, and he looked around the room. Such an elegant room. Where am I? Looking around, Naruto's eyes fell upon a glass of water. Naruto extended his arm and reached out for the glass of water. Smash! Naruto's eyes widened as he watched the glass of water shatter across the floor. Naruto then looked at his hands. I need to be careful. My eye-hand coordination isn't the best right now. Are all shinobi this clumsy? For an AMBU, you don't look like much. Naruto turned his head to the side. His gaze met the eyes of a light blonde-haired girl. A large crown was placed on her head. Her eyes were a pale lavender, and Naruto's attention was quickly caught by them. There's something about her eyes. Hello! Stop staring at me like that. Naruto took a better look at her and noticed that she was wearing a rather formal pink kimono. Who are you? And how do you know I was an AMBU? The girl sighed. You're a bit rude, you know. A gentleman should first present his name before asking a lady's hers. Naruto glared at the girl. I will not give my name to a potential enemy. The girl glared at him. Potential enemy? I saved your life. If it wasn't for me, you would be bleeding out in the forest. Naruto's eyes flashed red. I don't care. If you dash, Naruto's Sharingan quickly deactivated, and he clenched his stomach. So much pain? The girl swatted Naruto's hands away. Don't put pressure on the wound. You might reopen it. Naruto looked at the girl. Who are you? Girl sighed. My name's Sharingan, and I'm the priestess of the land of demons. The Naruto's eyes deadpanned. Did you say priestess of the land of demons? Sharingan grinned. Yeah. Naruto scratched the back of his head. I'm sure this tiny misunderstanding can be forgotten. You don't have to tell Lady Tsunade. Sharingan grinned evilly. I don't know. Depends on what you're willing to give up for the secret. Naruto sighed. Why do I always meet the crazy ones? Just forget it. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, replied Naruto. I'm a jonin of the hidden leaf. Sharingan gazed at Naruto. Yeah, right. Some snot-nosed kid like you a jonin. Naruto closed his eyes. She's annoying. Boy, do I hate royals. Have you contacted my village? We are in an alliance after all, asked Naruto as Sharingan stood facing the wall. Naruto began to look around the room. It wasn't very big, but it wasn't too small either. The room was quite elegant, decorated with expensive vases and beautiful flowers. The bed Naruto was lying in bed must have cost a fortune, and at the edge of the bed was Sharingan's crown. The all-at-once Sharingan turned around. Let's play a different game. Poker really isn't my thing. Naruto looked at Sharingan. Not to be rude, Sharingan, but don't you have better things to do than entertain me? Sharingan crossed her arms. You asked me to stay with me, and now you're being ungrateful? I guess I'll just leave then. Sharingan was about to stand up when Naruto grabbed her arm. It's not that. It's just most people would have just ignored me. You're just different. Sharingan looked at Naruto. Well, I don't get a lot of guests around here, and my mother taught me to always make sure a guest is satisfied. It would be rude not to. Naruto looked Sharingan in the eyes. That's a lie. She's just lonely. Naruto scratched the back of his head. Manners? It's kind of hard to imagine someone like you having manners. I mean, you kicked that guard out earlier for not bringing you your favorite cup. Sharingan looked embarrassed at the floor. I will drink from no less. Naruto chuckled. Well, I guess everyone has their quirks. How about a game of shogi? Since luck really isn't part of your game, let's see how smart your priestess brain is. Sharingan stood up. I shall let you know that I've never lost at shogi. Having knowledge in tactics is something every royal should take into account. Prepare to lose. Sharingan headed for the door, and before she did, Naruto replied, Well, I've lost a couple of times, but I ain't exactly a pushover, you know. Sharingan reached the door. Whatever. Naruto shook his head as she disappeared from sight. I guess staying here isn't too bad. Naruto looked over to his drink and reached for it. Taking a drink, his eyes suddenly went wide, and he fell to his side. Right behind him stood a black hooded figure. Blind Naruto's eyes slowly opened, and a white light blinded him. Sharingan. He pushed himself up, and he was surprised by the soreness of his body. He reached for his stomach, and was surprised to longer feel pain. My injures. They're gone. Looking around the room, he gasped as he realized where he was. I'm in Konoha's hospital? But the last thing I remember was being in Sharingan's place. Naruto turned his head to the window, and he was quickly dumbstruck by Konoha's beautiful morning. Naruto tossed his feet off the bed and slowly stood himself up. He balanced himself with the bed and stood up straight. Taking a few steps, he made his way to the window. Looking out the window, he gazed up at the Hokage mountain. He laughed a little as he looked at Tsunade's head. It looks like they added Granny's face to the mountain. Besides that the village looks practically the same. It's been exactly 1 year and 6 months since you left. A lot has changed even though you can't see it. Naruto's eyes widened and he turned around. In front of him was Tsunade with a clipboard in hand. So, how are you feeling, brat? Naruto moved across the room and gave Tsunade a big hug. I didn't realize how much I would actually miss my home. It feels like I've been gone forever. Tsunade was taken back by the sudden motion of Naruto's affection, though she quickly recovered and returned his hug. This is quite unexpected from you, Naruto. I didn't think you would miss us so much. Neither did I, but I was so close to dying. I didn't realize how much I was leaving behind, replied Naruto. Tsunade remained frozen for a second and looked down at Naruto. Your injuries were bad, but they weren't life-threatening. That was only because Cheyenne found me. I would bled out if she hadn't, replied Naruto. By the way, how did I end up here? Tsunade let go of Naruto, and Naruto sat on the bed. May informed us of your disappearance, so when we caught wind of you being in the land of demons, we took no chances, and simply kidnapped you from there. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Take no chances? But aren't we in an alliance with the land of demons? They weren't a threat. It was the man you were facing. You know very well who he was, and had he caught wind of your appearance, I'm sure he would have finished the job, so we acted quickly. Don't worry, we've already explained all this to Lady Cheyenne. Of course, she wasn't too happy. In fact, she nearly attacked one of our ANBU, replied Tsunade with a laugh. I would have loved to see that. Naruto took a deep breath. I'm going to have to give her my thanks sometime in the future. So I'm assuming that no one else knows about me coming back home. Tsunade nodded. Only me and the ANBU team sent after you. I'll inform everyone later. I was just waiting for you to wake up. Naruto looked down at his bandage. So, how long have I been asleep? My wounds are nearly all but healed, so it must have been some time. 2 weeks, replied Tsunade. Naruto's eyes widened. 2 weeks? Oh, I forgot. What about May and everyone in the Hidden Mist village? Tsunade grinned. It seems May accomplished to kill the mizukage, so your mission there is done. The war seems to be over, but there are things still left to be done. Once things have been wrapped up, she will be coming to the Leaf to finalize the new alliance between the Mist and the Leaf, though that shouldn't be for a couple of months. Naruto took a deep breath. At least they're okay. Tsunade nodded. By the way, I'm going to need a full mission report, especially on that masked man you fought. Toby, was it? Naruto nodded. I underestimated his ability. I'll go into further details later. So, when can I leave? Tsunade looked at her clipboard and flipped a page. Allow me to take a few tests, and depending on the results, I might let you go tomorrow morning. Naruto sighed as he looked outside. I hate hospitals. Line. Next morning, Naruto stretched his arms out as he took in a deep breath. He was dressed in the normal Jonin attire, being the only clothes that Tsunade could get him. At his feet was a small white bag. Looking down, Naruto grabbed it and tossed it over his back. I'm glad May managed to send me my stuff, though I would have rather grabbed them myself. Looking up at the sky, Naruto looked at the first crack of sunlight. Naruto closed his eyes and allowed the sun to warm his skin. How long has it been since I've enjoyed such warmth? The mist is well just mist, but I can't help but be worried. Is everyone okay? Akane? Chojuro? Ao? Even though I was there for 1.5 years, I really didn't get the opportunity to properly meet most of May's soldiers. I was hoping that after we killed the mizukage, I would get a chance to properly meet some people. Naruto looked down the street and was surprised to already see a number of people. Too bad. The only ones I really talked to was Chojuro and Akane. Oh, well, my mission was not to make friends, but to kill the mizukage. I guess a mission complete. Naruto walked down the street. He enjoyed the rather quiet morning and made his way down a too familiar route. As he walked closer to his destination, Naruto watched as he began to catch the eyes of many of the villagers. Is that the Yondame's son? There's no way. The last I heard, he was on some Super S-rank mission. He's rather grown up now, isn't he? Do you think he has a girlfriend? Naruto ignored the whispers and hurried faster down the road. I wasn't expecting anyone to recognize me, but my spiky red hair and blue eyes are one of a kind. Naruto turned a corner and made his way down an alley. Super S-rank mission? Nice job at keeping it a secret, Granny. Naruto sighed. As he reached his destination, a wooden fence stood before him, and he simply jumped over it. Landing on his feet, he looked up to stare at his backyard. Looking around, he could see that it had been modified a bit. Once where targets and practice dummies stood, now stood swings and a playset. Naruto looked up to his house. My little brother. He should be around a year old. Naruto scratched the back of his head. And Mother, she won't be too happy for not telling her I was coming home. Naruto walked up to his back door and pulled out a key. He quickly unlocked the door and stepped inside. Walking inside, he took a deep breath as he looked around the dining room. Taking off his shoes, he walked into the next room. His body froze. In front of him stood a red-headed woman, quietly working away at the stove. The woman quietly hummed a tune. The woman then reached out and pulled an egg out of an egg carton. She continued to hum the same tune as she broke the egg into the pan. The egg sizzled loudly as the hot pan began to cook it. The woman closed the egg carton and brought it closer to her chest. Turning around, the woman gasped. The egg cartoon slipped out of the woman's arm, and the remains inside splattered all over the floor. And Naruto? Naruto looked the woman in the face. Mother, it's been a long time. Naruto? Naruto gave her mother a smile. She looks much older now. Yeah, it's me. Naruto was quickly engulfed by his mother's hug. When she had raced over to Naruto, her long hair had knocked the cooking pan onto the ground. The pan hit the ground, clanged the egg in the pan, splattered all over the floor. Though both mother and son ignored the mess, and they continued to hug each other. Kushina's eyes glistened in the light, and all at once tears began to roll out. You're finally home. My son has finally returned home. Naruto continued to hug her. I told you I would. Did you seriously think I would not? Kushina, what's the dash? Naruto looked over her mother's shoulder, and at the door frame stood his father. In his one arm stood a small child, almost identical to him. The young boy had the same blue eyes and the same blonde hair. Naruto looked at the young child. Who's that? Kushina let go of Naruto and wiped away her tears. That's your little brother, Erasure. Erasure? Asked quiet voice. Naruto? Is that really you? But when did you complete your mission? When did you return back to the village? How come we weren't notified? Asked Minato all at once. Kushina glared at Minato. Minato? He must be tired. Just be patient. Come on, dear. I'll make you a big breakfast. Then we talk about it afterwards. Naruto was about to decline, but one look into his mother's cheerful face made him change his mind. All right, I'm just glad to be home. Line Naruto sat at the dinner table, with Erasure in his lap. His plate was half eaten, but he quickly ignored that. Naruto was too busy playing with his little brother. So, how old is little Erasure here? He's a little over a year old, replied Minato. Naruto nodded. What about Mito? Last I heard, she was sent of training with the pervy sage. Naruto watched as his mother stabbed a fork into the table. We haven't got much word, but that pervert better keep his perviness to himself if he knows what's better for him. I'll cut off his family jewels if I have to. Naruto and Minato sweated dropped, and little Erasure giggled. Family jewels. Naruto's sweat dropped even more. Don't say that, Erasure. Erasure looked up at Naruto. Ruto? Naruto's eyes lit up. He said my name. This must be like some type of new record. I've only been here a few minutes, and he already knows my name. Kushina nodded. Erasure is really good at picking up words and names. Unfortunately, added Minato, causing Kushina to rub the back of her head. Minato looked at Erasure. Sometimes he picks up words he shouldn't know. Isn't that right, Kushina? Naruto looked down at Erasure and spoke at him in a baby voice. Is that true, Erasure? Does mommy have a sailor's mouth? Naruto's baby voice caused Arashi's eyes to light up and clap happily. Naruto and Minato laughed at his mother's embarrassment, as Erasure had seemed to agree with Naruto. Kushina's face flushed red, so she tried to redirect the conversation. By the way, how come you didn't tell us beforehand that you were coming? If you had told me a few days before, I would have met you at the gates. Naruto shook his head. That would be impossible. What do you mean? Asked Minato. Naruto looked at them both. I've been in Konoha for over 2 weeks. Kushina stared at Naruto. 2 weeks? And you didn't think once to come see us? Tell us that you were at least okay. Did you not think we were worried for a year and a half? Kushina, calm down. I'm sure he has his reasons, spoke Minato as he calmed down his wife. Naruto looked at his mother. I have no easy way to say this, so I'll just be blunt. I've been in the hospital these 2 past weeks recovering from a fight. A fight against that orange masked man, the one that attacked the village 15 years ago. Naruto held Erasure tight as he closed his eyes. Kushina nearly fell out of her chair as she tried to stand up. That man? What were you doing fighting that man? Naruto looked up. I came upon him during my mission. He was the one controlling the mizukage. Minato looked at him. And what happened? Naruto looked out the window. I tried to stall him while May killed the mizukage. I succeeded, but I was too careless. I never expected him to use that jutsu. Kushina looked at Naruto. What technique? Was it that technique where he can pass through things? Naruto shook his head. I was expecting that. What I wasn't expecting was the Izanagi. Izanagi? Asked Minato. Naruto nodded his head. You've probably never heard of it. It's the ultimate jutsu of the Uchiha. It can even trump the Mangekyo Sharingan, if used wisely. What does it do? Asked Kushina. Naruto looked at them. At the expense of one's Sharingan, you can cast a genjutsu that rewrites reality. What does that mean? Asked Kushina. Just exactly that. You can rewrite reality. If you were to die, you could use Izanagi to avoid death. You would simply be erasing that part of history and filling it with the desired outcome. Minato looked at him. So you actually managed to kill him? But he used this technique to erase the outcome of the match and take you by surprise? Naruto nodded. Next thing I know, I'm bleeding to death and trying to get out of there. I ended up somewhere in the land of demons. I was lucky to escape with my life. Kushina clenched her fists, and then she took a deep breath. So, what else did you learn? Did you learn anything about the Akatsuki? Naruto sighed. That's the problem. I feel like I learned less. Toby, the masked man, claimed to have no alliance with them. He even went out to claim that Kisame had betrayed him some time in the past. But I'm not sure what to believe. Minato nodded. We should keep an open mind about this. I'll tell Jiraiya about your findings. Maybe he can dig something up. For a minute the room was filled with an awkward silence. Minato sat in his chair trying to process all the information, and Naruto looked down at the silent Erasure. Then all at once, Kushina stood up. Minato, I need your wallet. Minato mouth gaped for a split second. What for Kushina? I need to run out some stress, so I'm going shopping. Naruto, you're coming along. Your old clothes don't fit you no more, replied Kushina. Minato stayed silent for a moment, and Kushina glared at him. Wallet. Now Minato sighed in defeat and pulled out his wallet. Kushina took it with a smile and quietly dragged Naruto and Erasure out the door. Naruto gave out a nervous smile. I guess some people don't ever change. Line. 2 weeks later, Naruto was racing through the forest. He was with a group of 3 Chunins, 2 ahead of him and 1 behind. Jumping through the trees, Naruto sighed as he held a scroll in his hand. I don't understand why Granny Tsunade has had me handling nothing but genin and chunin these past couple of weeks. I know I'm a jounin, but I've only been back 2 weeks. Why did she have to give me a week-long assignment right away? She could have at least gave me a mission with my old team, but... Naruto looked ahead at the two guys in front of him. He then peeked back and looked at the girl behind him. They were all originally from the same genin team, and even now as Chunins they still operated together. Naruto sighed. Yakumo is an academy teacher right now, and Sais was sent off with the recon division, and Yamato joins him Jounin team. Naruto? Naruto turned around. Yes, Eri? The girl gave Naruto a questioning look. How did you manage to become a Jounin so quickly? I mean, us three are 17, and we've been trying for years just to make it to Special Jonin. We've all been Chunin since the age of 13. Naruto watched as the two ahead of him turned around. That's right. How did you make Jonin? Asked one of them. The other nodded. Hachiro is right. How did you make Jonin so quickly? Hachiro looked at him. Well, you are the son of the fourth Hokage. Did he put in a good word for you? Naruto looked forward. No. In fact, my father didn't even want me to become a Jounin as quickly as I did. I became a Jonin around the same time I turned 14, though the only reason I made Jonin was because of my ANBU commander. If she hadn't invited me to join her squad when I was 13, I probably would have never made Jonin so quickly. Naruto watched as the one in front jumped out of formation. ANBU? Why did you drop out? Naruto scowled him. Get back into formation, Nariko. Nariko shrugged his shoulders. We're only 3 miles away from Konoha. I doubt we'll run into any trouble. Naruto watched as Hachiro also dropped out of formation. He's right, Naruto. Just take it easy and tell us about your ANBU days. Naruto's sweat dropped. You make it sound as if I'm old, and you can never be too careful. Just get back to formation. Eri glared at the two boys. This is why we're never going to make it to Jonin. If you two imbeciles can't keep a simple formation. The team bickered a bit, and Naruto's eyes suddenly widened. In an instant, he activated his Sharingan. He pulled out 2 shuriken and threw them at Nariko and Hachiro. Naruto, the 2 shuriken embedded themselves in the clothes of both Nariko and Hachiro and stuck them into a tree. Their movement was completely stopped, and Naruto fell back and kicked Eri backwards. Then all at once large barrage of kunai and shuriken was launched at Naruto. What timing! Had I not noticed the trap, the kunai were in perfect position to take us out. Even when we were going at full speed, Naruto pulled out a kunai and proceeded to block and dodge the barrage of kunai. Then suddenly he noticed some wire attached to the kunai. Crap. Before he knew it, Naruto was tied down to some tree. Naruto moved his neck to the side and dodged the kunai thrown at his head. Then his eyes widened as he stared at the paper bomb on the kunai. Boom! Nariko and Hachiro quickly pulled themselves free from the shuriken and jumped to the trees. Quickly to their side was Eri. Eri looked at the explosion with eyes wide. What was that? I don't know, but Naruto saved us, spoke Nariko. Hachiro gulped. He isn't dead? Oh, yes, he is. The 3 turned around and were surprised to see 3 ninja behind them. They all wore Kumo headbands, with the insignia crossed out. The one on the ends wore the identical black clothing, with a mask covering their faces, though the one in the middle wore some white clothing. On his back was strapped a black katana, and there was a strange tattoo on his left shoulder. The 3 Chunin pulled out a kunai and took their respective stances. Eri stared at them. You're rogue ninja, aren't you? I assume from Kumo. The one in the middle laughed. Of course, caught the leader there. You Konoha scum are all the same. He knew that attack was coming, but it was too late to warn you 3. Instead, he sacrificed his life to save your little hinds. The man laughed out loud. Typical Konoha scum. Nariko growled. Shut up. Naruto was an honorable jonin of our village. How dare you insult him like that? Hachiro grabbed his shoulder. Calm down, Nariko. If we're going to take them down, we're going to have to stay calm. Nariko nodded, but out of nowhere the unmasked man laughed at him. 3 Chunins? Defeating us? We might be rogue ninjas, but we were once jonins of our own village. Let us show you the difference of strength between us and you. Jonins? Asked Eri as her eyes widened. This is bad. It would be best if we retreated into Konoha. And don't think of retreating. We ain't going to let you, grinned the middleman. Now, boys, get him. Ack. The middleman turned to his right and was shocked to see his man tumble over. As he fell off the tree, several shuriken embedded into his back was revealed. The middleman turned quickly and watched as a black blade pierced through the chest of his last companion. Then all at once the blade glowed blue, and the man watched as the blade cut through his comrade's body like butter. The sword inched closer to his face, and the man jumped away from the blade. It missed his throat by inches. The man dressed in white jumped all the way back and landed on a faraway tree. How are you still alive? I saw your remains myself. Eri yelled out, Naruto? As the dead man's body fell to the ground, Naruto's whole body came to view. Are you guys all right? Nariko clenched his fist. Are we all right? What type of question is that? We thought you died. Naruto smirked. Me die by such a pathetic traps? The rogue ninja in front of him glared at Naruto. How are you alive? Genja. The rogue ninja's eyes widened as he suddenly stared into Naruto's Sharingan, an Uchiha. The man quickly shook his head. Looking into his eyes is the last thing I need to do. The man was about to draw his katana when suddenly he felt something at his feet. Looking down, he saw a black substance growing at his feet. The man tried to pull his feet up, but no matter how hard he tried, his feet won't budge. His eyes widened in desperation, and sweat begun to pour down his forehead. His hands quickly moved down, and he begun to tug at his feet. Then suddenly the black substance latched onto his arm. The man let out a yelp, and he tugged his hand back. He was about to shout again, when out of nowhere a hand formed from the black substance. It latched onto his face, completely covering his mouth. His screams were silenced, and his words suddenly became a blur. My chakra. He finally looked up and noticed that the world around him had changed. He now stood in a dark void, where the only thing that illuminated the night was a pair of Sharingan eyes. The man cursed silently. I'm already under his genjutsu. Line Eri's eyes widened as she watched the man suddenly fall off the tree. She watched as their team leader appeared underneath him and caught him. Eri, Nariko, Hachiro, the three quickly raced over to Naruto and looked down at the missing nin. Naruto, what happened? Asked Nariko. Naruto looked up. I caught him under my genjutsu. We'll be handing him over to Ibiki. I'm curious to why a missing nin from Kyumo would be doing here. Naruto looked at Nariko and Hachiro. I need you two to recover the two dead bodies. Naruto reached into his back pocket and pulled out a scroll. He gave the scroll to Nariko. Go ahead and seal away the bodies with Hachiro. Naruto looked over at Eri. Eri, come help me secure the man. I want him tied up nice and tight. Don't want him pulling a fast one on us. Eri nodded, and she quickly pulled out some ninja wire. Naruto held the man up as Eri begun to tie the guy up. As this was going on, Naruto begun to inspect the white man, looking around his body. Naruto's eyes widened as his eyes land on a tattoo. That tattoo, that symbol, I've seen it before. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he finally came to a conclusion. It can't be. It's been almost 10 years. Naruto, are you fine? Asked Eri. Naruto's eyes blinked as he looked up to a pale-looking Eri. Naruto gave her a confused look. I'm fine, but are you, Eri? Eri looked down at the ground. I know I'm a ninja, but for some reason... Naruto sighed. You feel remorse for the death of those two. Eri avoided Naruto's eyes. I know I shouldn't feel this. It's just I can't help it. I look over at Nariko and Hachiro, and it doesn't even look like it bothers them. Naruto grabbed the white man and hauled him over his shoulder. What you're feeling isn't bad, Eri. I too feel like that, and so should everyone else. Naruto looked down at Eri. Some people are just better at covering up those feelings than others. In fact, you should feel like that. It's the thing that makes us human. If you don't even feel a little remorse for killing someone, then I guess you aren't human at all. Eri looked up at Naruto and quickly stood up herself. Really? Naruto nodded. Really? But you must not forget. We do not kill because we enjoy it. We kill to protect our village. Just never forgot that, okay? Eri nodded. Thanks, Naruto. Naruto nodded. Anytime. Naruto looked to the side and growled at Nariko and Hachiro. Hurry up, you two. I want to make it to the village ASAP. I need to relay this to Lady Tsunade. Naruto stood kneeling down in front of Lady Tsunade with Nariko, Hachiro, and Eri. Naruto lifted his head. And that's what occurred, Granny. Hachiro, Nariko, and Eri all refrained themselves from laughing out loud. Their faces grew red, as they desperately tried to stop their laugh from bursting out. Granny? Tsunade's eye twitched, and she pounded her fist on her desk. What have I told you about calling me that, you brat? And are you laughing? Nariko, Eri, and Hachiro all shook their heads. No, ma'am. Naruto chuckled lightly. Yes. Boom! Naruto managed to jump back and avoided Tsunade's fist. The fist slammed into the ground with so much force that the floor broke through and created a hole. Nariko, Eri, and Hachiro all jumped back and took a big gulp. Lady Hokage is really strong. Naruto begun to slightly sweat. That was close. Tsunade quickly grabbed Naruto by the collar. This better be the last time. Naruto nodded sheepishly. Sure thing. Tsunade let go of Naruto and took her attention to the three Chunin. Nice job, you three. Your team has proven to be reliable time and time again, even though the end of this last mission was a bit uneventful. Hachiro and Nariko rubbed the back of their heads. Tsunade gave them a slight glare. This better be the last time something like this happens. Understand? The three Chunins nodded, and Tsunade let out a sigh. You guys are dismissed. The three Chunin stood up and gave a quick, hi. They quickly moved to the door. Hachiro and Nariko quickly made it outside, but Eri hesitated. Naruto, are you coming? Naruto shook his head. I have something to say to Lady Tsunade. Tsunade looked over to him. Lady Tsunade, he must have something serious to say. Eri nodded. Okay. By Naruto, Eri looked over to Naruto one last time, and she quickly made her way outside. What is it? There's something I left out, replied Naruto, and I didn't want anyone else to find out. Tsunade looked over at him, and that is, the man we arrested, he had a tattoo on his shoulder. A tattoo? Yes, and this tattoo belongs to the disbanded Kagami force of Kyumo. Tsunade narrowed her eyes. Kagami forces? But they were disbanded ever since the failed kidnapping of Hinata Hyuga. Naruto nodded. Yeah, I was unable to check the other two bodies, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were members too. Tsunade turned around and looked out of her window. The Kagami force, they're pretty much Kyumo's version of Root. Though they were too reckless, the Hyuga incident was one of many failed attempts at gaining power. Yet, that doesn't matter right now. What does matter is that they're in fire territory and pose a threat. If that is all, you can go, Naruto. Naruto nodded. That is all. Naruto turned around and walked out of the room. As Naruto closed the door behind him, he took a deep breath. This mission was much more exciting than I thought it would be. Naruto stood in the hall for a minute before he looked up to a ticking clock. Haruka should be outclassed in about 20 minutes. If I hurry, I might be able to meet her. In a split second, Naruto disappeared from view. Naruto's eyes were closed as he enjoyed the cool breeze. He was leaned against the tree and silently enjoyed the peaceful day. Without opening his eyes, he knew that a very small crowd begun to form at the entrance of the academy. Most of them were probably parents of the youngest class, while others might have been there for the same reason as Naruto, to surprise their loved ones. Then suddenly he heard some footsteps getting louder and louder. Opening his eyes, he stared at a beautiful young black-haired girl. Her hair was tied nicely into a bun, with 2 bangs hanging from the sides of her head. Her eyes were pale white and contained no pupils. Naruto smirked. Surprised seeing you around here. Didn't think you were the type to hang around kids. I could say the same about you, but you're still a kid, replied the woman. Naruto gritted his teeth, still as arrogant as ever. And you're still as annoying as ever. Then they both laughed out loud. Naruto looked at the girl. So, how's it going, Yuna? The Hyuga gave him a smile. It's been going pretty good. I'll admit I'm a bit disappointed you haven't come to see me. I've been looking forward to a nice spar. Naruto replied, I've been pretty busy these couple past weeks, and I don't think I won't be able to spar with you anytime soon. I've neglected my little sister, Haruka, these couple past weeks, and I think today is the day I make it up to her. Yuna grinned. Little sister? You mean that Uchiha brat you hang around with? Who are you calling an Uchiha brat? Yuna turned around and quickly looked down. In front of her stood a short 10-year-old. Her eyes were pitch black, the same color as her hair, though her hair was tied up in a nice ponytail, and she had some bangs reaching to her eyebrows. The girl glared at Yuna. Didn't you hear me? Yuna's eyes suddenly sparkled, and she pinched the girl's cheeks. Ah, you're so cute. You might be as cute as my little protege. Naruto sighed. Let go of Haruka. Yuna looked over to Naruto and looked at the girl. She quickly let go of Haruka, and Haruka jumped back. What's your problem? You want to fight? Just let it go, Haruka. Why not instead give your older brother a hug? Asked Naruto with a smile. Naruto opened his arms out, inviting Haruka in for a hug. Naruto watched as Haruka's eyes widened, and she dashed him. Then all of a sudden Naruto felt a wave of pain rush through his stomach. Haruka. Looking down, he saw Haruka's fist engulfed into his stomach. Then suddenly she looked up with tears in her eyes. Naruto? Haruka jumped up and gave Naruto an enormous hug. I heard you were back 2 weeks ago. I looked and looked, but you weren't here. Why didn't you come visit me sooner? Naruto let out a small smile. Lady Tsunade needed me to run an important mission. I'm sorry. I should have just denied it and came and visited you instead. I was so scared you won't come back. Why didn't you ever reply to any of my letters? Asked Haruka. Naruto closed his eyes. I wasn't allowed to have any contact with family or friends. It might have jeopardized my mission. Haruka suddenly let go of Naruto. She quickly wiped away her tears. Well, that doesn't matter now. I mean, you're finally home. I have so much to tell you. Haruka scratched her head. How about I invite you to a meal? Then I can tell you everything. You invite me a meal? You sure have grown, Haruka, replied Naruto. Haruka smiled. Of course. Next month I'm going to become a genin of the leaf. It's time I become serious. Naruto's eyes widened. Genin? Next month? Yuna yawned. This emotional reunion is boring. Yuna let out a grin. Ah. Does little sister have a crush on Big Bro? Inviting him to a date is quite bold. Haruka deadpan. Huh? It's all right. After all, Naruto really isn't your brother. What's this about you becoming a genin, Haruka? Asked Naruto as he ignored Yuna. Haruka growled. That's gross, you pervy Hyuga. Just cause you're nasty and gross for love doesn't mean you have to assume things. What? Pervy Hyuga? Asked Yuna in rage. Haruka, why are you calling my sensei a pervert? Haruka and Yuna looked behind them. Standing behind them was Hanabi Hyuga. Her hair was short and just barely reached her wore a sleeveless blue shirt with matching blue pants. Over the shirt she wore a tan vest. Hanabi was staring straight at Haruka. Haruka growled. It's you? Hanabi looked away. I asked you a question, Haruka. Haruka crossed her arms. 'Cause your pervy friend here keeps telling me I like my big brother. Hanabi raised an eyebrow. Huh? Shouldn't that be natural? Haruka clenched her fist and her cheeks turned red. Not that type of like. You know the like. Hanabi's cheeks flushed a little and looked up at Yuna. But Ms. Yuna, isn't that wrong? They're not actually siblings. Hanabi's mouth formed a little O, and then Naruto interrupted them. Wait a minute. Haruka, what did you say about graduating? Yuna glared at Naruto. Don't you see that we ladies here are having a nice chat? Naruto glared at Yuna. Ladies? The only ladies I see are those two. What did you say, brat? You turning deaf too? I guess your age is catching up. You want to fight? In F.S.C. brother, Naruto looked at Haruka, and he quickly remembered what he was doing. That's right. You said something about graduating next month. Haruka nodded with a toothy grin. That's right. I'm going to be graduating with Ken and Katashi. Naruto stuttered. But they're 2 years older than you. I know. I'm the youngest one to graduate, replied Haruka. Hanabi suddenly cleared her throat. Are you? Haruka glared at her. Oh yeah, I forgot. Hanabi shares a birthday with me. Naruto looked over and finally took a good look at Hanabi. So, you're graduating too. I must say you both are very young to be graduating. Are you sure you two don't want to wait at least 1 year? There's no need to rush things. Yuna tossed her arm around Naruto. Don't discourage my protege like that. Protege? Asked Naruto with a deadpan voice. Yuna nodded with a smile, and Hanabi looked at the ground embarrassed. But, Ms. Yuna, you've only been teaching me for a few weeks. Haruka glared at Hanabi. Oh yeah, I bet I could wipe your butt across the floor. Naruto watched as a rather respectful girl suddenly growled, Oh yeah? I like to see you try which-haired freak. Haruka gasped, yeah. I like to see you try, pale-eyed freak. Yuna and Hanabi both let out a gasp, and Yuna glared at Haruka. What did you call us? Naruto face-bombed. You just had to say pale-eyed freak. Before Haruka could even respond, Yuna suddenly brought back her leg and kicked at Haruka. Hanabi and Haruka both looked shocked by the older girl's aggressive behavior. Though in the blink of an eye, Naruto stood between the two girls, with Yuna's leg caught between his hands. Yuna glared at Naruto. I see her as fast as ever. Now get out of my way, and I'll teach this girl some respect. Naruto gave a taunting smile. This is why I don't think you should be near kids. You're rather aggressive when someone offends you. Yuna scowled. Well, I'm pissed now, and unless you want to take her place... Yuna suddenly jumped back, and a grin appeared on her face. You and me, spar, now. Naruto sighed. It seems you haven't matured much, Haruka. You still get into a lot of trouble. Haruka pouted, but Naruto turned around and placed his hand on her head. But that's what I love about you. Haruka suddenly blushed, and she looked down at the floor. Naruto turned around. Sure, if it gets you off her back, then I'll have a friendly spar with you. Hanabi's eyes were glued on Naruto. Whoa, Ms. Yuna wants to spar someone? Normally, she complains about sparring anyone at the clan. Too boring, she says. Who is this guy? Naruto looked at Hanabi. Hanabi? What are you staring at? Hanabi's face flushed. Sorry. It's just I didn't know your name. Naruto gave a slight nod. My bad. My name's Naruto Uzumaki, Jonin of the Hidden Leaf. Yuna suddenly grabbed Hanabi. That's enough talking. Meet me at Training Ground T. Yuna suddenly disappeared, and Naruto stood there standing with Haruka. Haruka looked up at Naruto. Naruto, who is that woman? Haruka nervously begun to make little circles with her feet, and she mumbled, Is she your girlfriend? Naruto took a step back, and his eyes widened in horror. What? No, no, no. She's not my girlfriend. Haruka suddenly looked up relieved. Oh, then who is she? She's just an old teammate when I was in AMBU. I guess you could say she is my rival, replied Naruto as he looked up to the sky. Lying what? Why can't Niji become her Jonin sensei? Tsunade took a deep breath as she looked down at her desk. On top of all the paperwork stood a small file. The file was labeled Hanabi Hyuga. Without a flicker of emotion on her face, she looked up and stared into the eyes of Hayashi Hyuga. I found a better sensei to take care of her team. A better sensei? No disrespect, Lady Tsunade, but Niji is the perfect teacher for Hanabi, spoke Hayashi with certainty in his voice. Tsunade's gaze remained fixed on Hayashi's eyes. That's just it. He might be the perfect teacher for Hanabi, but not the team. Don't get me wrong, Niji can be an excellent leader when the situation calls for, but I have someone who's just perfect for the job. Hayashi crossed his arms and closed his eyes. All right, let's hear it. Who is it? Tsunade smirked and pulled out a file from underneath her desk. She gave it a hard look and tossed it across her desk. Hayashi looked down and he read, Team 3? Hayashi looked up. The graduation exams aren't for another month. Tsunade nodded. That may be true, but we know who's going to pass and fail. As well, we also group genin teams together based on each individual's personality, each individual's history, and sometimes even simple things like age, height, and weight. All these things go into factor when creating a genin team. That right there is the only team that I've confirmed, but the Jonin Sensei isn't set in stone. You could say I'm still testing him. Hayashi looked down at the file and back at Tsunade. May I? No need to be formal, Hayashi. Just go ahead, replied Tsunade. Hayashi opened the file and he pulled out 4 cards: Haruka Uchiha, Konohamaru Sarutobi, and Hanabi Hyuga. Hayashi stared at the 3 genin and looked up at Tsunade. The Uchiha, she's the same age as my daughter? Tsunade nodded. Her and your daughter, Hanabi, are the youngest ones to graduate next month. I think it's in their best interest if they have someone of their same age group on their team. Hayashi took a long look at Konohamaru. And the boy, he's the grandson of the 3rd Hokage. Tsunade nodded, and Hayashi frowned. If I may ask, wouldn't this team be a target for other villages? We have the grandson of the 3rd Hokage, the heir to the Hyuga clan, and one of the few remaining Uchiha members. Hayashi placed the cards down and picked up the last one. His eyes widened as he looked up at Tsunade, but he's even younger than Niji. Line Hanabi and Haruka were standing across each other. Each girl had one of their hands in front of them, and each had a hand making the seal of confrontation. Naruto was on the side and looked at both of the girls. Behind him was Yuna sitting with her hands on her ear. Naruto looked behind him and gave a slight chuckle. Turning around, he looked at both of the girls. You can now. Begins. Hi. Hi. The 2 girls exploded towards each other, and the fight had begun. Naruto fell back and sat down right by Yuna. He gave Yuna a big smile. I guess that makes it 15-13 me. Yuna glared at him. Whatever. The only reason you won was because of that sound, Jinjin. Naruto smiled. Isn't deception key to each battle? What made you think I would tell you about the new skills I picked up before a spar? Yuna continued to glare at him, while her hands massaged her ears. Ugh. Whatever you got, lucky boy. Though I'll admit it was impressive. That's the first time I've fallen prey to a genjutsu during battle. Where did you pick it up? Naruto smirked. It's something I worked on during my time in Kiri. A genjutsu capable of ensuring people with a dojutsu. It's quite simple, actually. Yuna rolled her eyes. Well, are you going to tell me or not? Naruto looked at Yuna. What? Are you going to steal my tricks or something? Yuna punched Naruto in the arm playfully. Of course not. I don't really have the patience for genjutsu. You had to whistle that genjutsu for almost 2 minutes. Naruto sighed. Yeah, I guess that's the downfall of it. Well, anyways, the way you can ensnare someone with a dojutsu under genjutsu is by attacking the other 5 senses other than sight. Even though your Byakugan can see through my genjutsu, doesn't mean your other senses can too. In my case, I attack your sense of hearing. So even though you can see through genjutsu, your brain is hearing a whole different story. Of course, you could just choose to ignore that sense, but will you be able to do it quickly enough? Yuna nodded. I see. That's quite impressive. Where did you pick it up? My old teammate's clan. The Kurama clan specializes on attacking all 5 senses, making it impossible for just dojutsus alone to pierce through their genjutsu, replied Naruto. Yuna looked up at the sky. I used to think it was impossible to catch a Hyuga under a genjutsu. That was until I met you. Naruto and Yuna suddenly looked forward and watched as the match between Hanabi and Haruka came to end. Hanabi and Haruka both rushed at each, Hanabi with an open palm, and Haruka with her hand in a fist. Hanabi ducked underneath Haruka and slammed her palm into Haruka. Haruka gritted her teeth in pain, and Hanabi smirked. "This spar is over." Haruka suddenly bit her lip, and she kneed Hanabi in the face. Hanabi was kneed straight up, and Haruka followed up with a straight jab to the face. Hanabi was sent flying backwards and fell to the ground unconscious. Haruka smirked. "I win." Before Haruka could finish, she too fell to the ground, and her eyes snapped closed from the pain to her stomach. Naruto and Yuna looked down at the two girls. Naruto then let out a sigh. "Maybe we should have stopped them? I doubt Hayashi is going to be happy about this. No offense, but your clan is highly protective of its heir." Yuna nodded. "Yeah, that's probably why I've been teaching her these past couple of weeks. Hayashi wanted me to toughen her up a bit, but she's already a tough girl. The training she goes through is brutal. I'm surprised your little girlfriend could keep up." Naruto frowned and ignored Yuna's comment on Haruka. "I've been teaching Haruka ever since I met her. Just like the rest of her clan. They're a very ambitious group. I assume the desire to become stronger comes from the fear of not being strong enough, and having something like the massacre occur again. That makes sense. At least they're not some whiny brats that hide behind others," replied Yuna. Yuna suddenly stood up and walked over to Hanabi, grabbing the girl. She simply flung her over her shoulder. Yuna turned to Naruto. "I guess I gotta get going. I'll see you around, Naruto." Naruto nodded. "I'll see you around, Yuna." Then Yuna disappeared in a cloud of smoke. After a few moments, Naruto stood up and walked over to Haruka, taking a much more gentler approach. Naruto carefully picked up Haruka. Naruto cradled her in his arms and slowly begun to walk back into the village. "Line, I simply can't understand why you'd rather have this boy lead the team over Niji," asked Hayashi. Tsunade looked down at the card in his hand. "He's much more capable of leading this team. Naruto is highly skilled in many fields of the shinobi. His ninjutsu arsenal consists of 4 different elements, and thanks to his Sharingan, he has a vast number of jutsus under his belt. So, he's perfect for teaching the young Sarutobi. He can also teach young Haruka how to operate her Sharingan once she awakens it. As for Hanabi, Naruto has worked with the Hyuga members to sound rude, but I'm sure his Sharingan has already copied style of taijutsu without him even noticing. So incorporating it with the rest of the team shouldn't even be a challenge for him." Hayashi looked down at the card. "Which members?" "Excuse me? You said he worked with Hyuga members before. Well, who was it?" asked Hayashi. Tsunade smirked. "Yuna Hyuga." Hayashi's eyes widened. "But she's in ANBU." Tsunade nodded. "Yes, Naruto joined ANBU at the age of 13. He later became a jonin at the age of 14 and temporarily became the head of the current mizukage security unit. After a year and a half, he's returned to the village." Hayashi looked down at Naruto's card. "I'll admit he's a highly skilled ninja, but can you be so sure he can do it?" Tsunade took a deep sigh. "As I said, I'm still testing him. He's led all types of team. I've even entrusted him to lead an ANBU team. Though children are a different matter. Come back in 3 weeks, and then we'll rediscuss this." Hayashi nodded and stood up. "As you wish, Lady Tsunade." Hayashi was about to turn around when he looked down at the file. "Would you mind if I took this?" Tsunade looked at the file. "Sure, but if you leak any of it, be accident or not, you know the consequences." Hayashi nodded, and he took the file over Team 3. Hayashi left the room, and Tsunade turned around. Looking out her window, she let out a smile. "That's right, tomorrow is the beginning of Naruto's test." Tsunade let out a small chuckle. "Tomorrow will be interesting." Line Naruto yawned as he stood in front of Tsunade. They were both in Tsunade's office, and Naruto was obviously half asleep. "I know I'm a jonin, but couldn't you have warned me about this mission the day before?" "What makes you think this is an emergency assignment?" asked Tsunade. Naruto looked at Tsunade without an interest in the world. "You sent Shizen if it had been an emergency." You would have used the hidden seal on my AMBU tattoo to get a hold of me. Tsunade smiled. Whatever. So are you ready for your mission? Naruto sighed. I guess so. Suddenly the door opened, and came in a brown-haired girl. Her hair was long and nearly reached her waist. The girl's skin was pale white, and she had light brown eyes. She wore a purple kimono that reached only to her knees, and a pink cloth was wrapped around her waist, keeping the kimono in place. Her forehead protector on her forehead, reflecting the sunlight peeking into the room. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. Yakumo? Yakumo suddenly looked at Naruto and returned the shock expression. Naruto? Yakumo suddenly ran to Naruto and gave him a big hug. Since when have you been back? Naruto returned her hug. I've been back for 4 weeks. Naruto felt Yakumo's grip tighten. Yakumo? 4 weeks? And you didn't think of dropping by once? Asked Yakumo as she let go of Naruto. Yakumo then proceeded to give Naruto a deadly glare. Naruto suddenly gulped. It's not that I didn't want to. I just couldn't. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and Lady Tsunade has had me done a bunch of time-consuming chores. Yakumo's glare lessened, and Tsunade suddenly cleared her throat. That's enough, Yakumo. I need to debrief you to your mission. Naruto raised his eyebrow. But Granny, you told me that Yakumo was an academy teacher, and that's why I couldn't take any missions with her. Yakumo looked at Naruto. Well, I am still an academy teacher. Huh? Asked Naruto as he looked at Tsunade and Yakumo. Then his eyes remained frozen on Tsunade's giant grin. Naruto began to slowly back away and shake his head. There's no way. Yakumo stood confused. No way what, Naruto? Tsunade suddenly let out an enormous laugh. There's way, you brat. For the next 2 weeks, you'll be assisting Yakumo in teaching the first year at the academy. Naruto shouted at Tsunade, that's Chunin work. I'm a full-fledged jonin. There's no way I'm going to be an academy teacher. No way I'm going back to the academy. Line Naruto and Yakumo stood in front of a large class of 6-year-olds. Yakumo had a large smile on her face, while Naruto had a large frown. Yakumo looked over and elbowed him in the side. Give a smile, or else you're going to scare them off. Naruto looked at Yakumo without a flicker of emotion in his face. Or what? Yakumo grinned. I'll have you teach history. Naruto suddenly gave a big smile, but he spoke in a monotone voice. Hello, class, my name's Naruto Uzumaki, and I'll be filling in for Sarutobi Sensei for the next 4 weeks to flashback. And oh, Jutsu line Naruto and Yakumo stood in front of a large class of 6-year-olds. Yakumo had a large smile on her face, while Naruto had a large frown. Yakumo looked over and elbowed him in the side. Give a smile, or else you're going to scare them off. Naruto looked at Yakumo without a flicker of emotion in his face. Or what? Yakumo grinned. I'll have you teach history. Naruto suddenly gave a big smile, but he spoke in a monotone voice. Hello, class, my name's Naruto Uzumaki, and I'll be filling in for Sarutobi Sensei for the next 4 weeks. Line after years of fighting and rivalry, the Senju and Uchiha managed to come to equal terms, thus forming this very same village we live in today, spoke Yakumo as she begun to draw key points on the board. Yakumo was about to continue, when suddenly the sound of snoring brought her to a stop. Her ears twitched in annoyance, and she quickly turned around. Her eyes quickly scanned the room, searching for the delinquent that dared to sleep in her class. Yakumo was too busy searching for someone to be asleep to notice the smiles on everyone's face. It wasn't until one of the students begun to giggle that she became aware of the situation. With an angry scowl on her face, she turned to her desk. Yakumo quickly put her hands on her hip, just like a mother would do when scolding a child. Uzumaki-sensei. The answer is will of fire, shouted Naruto as he suddenly awoke from his sleep. Naruto blinked a few times, and only then did he notice Yakumo's angry face. Naruto gulped, and in the most professional voice he could muster, he replied, Is there something I can help you with, Yakumo-sensei? Yakumi gave a devilish grin. I was wondering if you could sum up everything we learned in class. As review, Naruto begun to sweat and finally took a look at the class. He watched as smiles were visible on every single child in the room. Naruto looked at Yakumo. Don't you believe it would be better if we had the kids do it instead? It would be great to see if they understood the material or not. Yakumo shook her head. I insist. Naruto scratched the back of his head and looked at the board. Oh man, ring. Naruto let out a deep breath and smiled. I guess it's going to have to wait for after lunch. You're all dismissed. Yakumo silently cursed the clock as the kids happily filed out of the room. After the last kid left, Naruto let out a sigh and sat in his chair. Was that really necessary, Yakumo? Before Naruto could blink, Yakumo had a meter stick to Naruto's neck. Necessary? You know what I do to kids that sleep in my class. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. I don't know. Give them a reward? And oh, shouted Yakumo as she smacked Naruto on the head. Naruto winced in pain, and he quickly brought his hands up to rub his head. Yakumo continued to glare at Naruto. Then out of nowhere, she used her meter stick to break the legs of Naruto's chair. Naruto didn't react, and allowed gravity to pull him to the S-back slammed into the ground, and he ended up lying down on the floor. Yakumo crossed her arms. I usually have them stand up, and I send a disciplinary report to their parents. Naruto stared at the ceiling. But I'm not your student. Exactly, you're supposed to be my coworker, replied Yakumo as she pinched her nose. Naruto picked himself up and looked at Yakumo. I'm sorry, Yakumo, but history is so boring. Yakumo looked away from Naruto. I don't care. It's just a bad example you're showing to the kids. Naruto rolled his eyes. Am I? I've been here a week, and they all seem to love me. That's because you're always messing around during my lessons, replied Yakumo in frustration. For crying out loud, you're a jonin. Naruto's lip gave a slight pout. It's not like it's in every aspect of class, just history. Yakumo put her hands to her hair. Fine. Just don't do it again. Naruto leaned back on his desk. He then watched as Yakumo moved to the board and begun to erase everything. All the time Naruto observed Yakumo closely. So, why are you so stressed out? Yakumo gave Naruto a confused look. What are you talking about? You've been a little out of focus lately. Naruto hesitated for a moment, and a bit aggressive. Is something going on? Asked Naruto with concern in his voice. Yakumo took a deep breath. I've been having some money problems. Naruto gave her a confused look. Money problems? Why would you have money problems? Aren't you the clan heir of the Kurama clan? Yakumo closed her eyes in frustration. The clan elders didn't really appreciate me teaching at the academy. They wanted me to do something better with my time. Naruto narrowed his eyes. So, they most likely cut you from the clan's fund. Yakumo nodded. I usually won't have a problem with that, but I needed that money. What for? Asked Naruto. Yakumo looked at the floor a bit embarrassed. I paid to have my old parents' house rebuilt and have everything replaced. Naruto let out a whistle. That must have been very costly. Yakumo agreed. It was, but with the monthly allowance I got and my job at the academy, I would have been able to cover it easily. But now I'm not too sure. Naruto rose an eyebrow. That is an issue, so how much do you owe? Yakumo let out a nervous chuckle. 500,000 yen. Naruto's eyes widened. 500,000 yen? How are you supposed to pay that with a teacher's salary? I know. That's why I've been debating to sell it off or not, spoke Yakumo with a sad look on her face. Naruto took one glance at Yakumo's face and quickly took a deep breath. He debated with himself for a second before he came to a final conclusion. I could help you pay it off, you know, replied Naruto as his eyes wandered across the room. Yakumo looked at Naruto in surprise. No, I'm not asking you for money. Naruto shook his head. Don't worry about it. I have more than enough. As well, you can just pay me off later. Yakumo bit her lip and looked at Naruto. I'm not sure. Naruto pulled out a checkbook and looked at Yakumo. Don't stress about it, Yakumo. Yakumo watched as Naruto wrote into his checkbook and ripped out a check. He then gave Yakumo a smile and handed the check to her. Yakumo looked at the piece of paper mortified, but at the same time with a glint of relief in her eyes. Naruto lingered off Yakumo as she held the piece of paper in her hand. This is a lot of MO money. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. I have 10 million yen in the bank. This really isn't nothing. Still, this is your money, not mine, yelled Yakumo as her eyes looked up at Naruto's. I can't accept this. Naruto's eye twitched in annoyance. I told you it's all right, so take it. Yakumo shook her head. I can't. Naruto gritted his teeth. Fine. Then just give me back the check. There was a moment's silence, and Yakumo didn't budge. Naruto looked at her in annoyance and stretched out his hand. Well, Yakumo gave Naruto a sheepish look. Line the sun was high in the sky, and its intense rays illuminated the day. Naruto was walking down the street with a bag in his hand. He walked aimlessly and was in deep thought. Yakumo seems to have moved on with her life. While I was gone, thought Naruto as he passed merchants, shops, carts, and people down the street. Yakumo has rebuilt her childhood home and is living on her own now, thought Naruto as he looked down at his grocery bag. And I'm still here buying groceries for Mom. Naruto sighed as he stopped walking for a brief second. Maybe I should get a place for myself as well. Then all of a sudden, Naruto heard a piercing scream. Naruto turned around, and his attention fell on a mother and a small child. Naruto watched as the mother scolded a young child. Naruto eyed the two for a minute, and then he turned around and continued to walk. But the biggest problem would be my mom. I've already been gone for a year and a half. Naruto frowned and he finally looked up and noticed where he was. Crap, I almost missed the turn to go home. Turning around at the next corner, his attention was caught by a green butterfly on an electric post. Naruto smiled at the bug, the green color, and the bug itself reminded Naruto of a certain Jinchuriki. I wonder how Fue's been? I haven't talked to her in months. Naruto watched as the butterfly spread its wings and began to fly off. Naruto watched as it hovered in the air for a moment before it took off. Naruto watched carefully as the butterfly flew away. Taking a deep breath, he turned back to face the electric post. On the post was a flyer, and Naruto read the headline out loud, Apartments for Rent or Sale? A grin crossed Naruto's face. Naruto peeked around the corner and turned around to make sure no one was watching. He then yanked the flyer off the post and placed it in his pocket. I doubt anyone will notice. Naruto walked down the street and unknowingly passed the same green butterfly from before. But now the butterfly was stuck in a spider's web. Its beautiful green wings were now entangled in the sticky white web. A black spider, with a red hourglass on its back, slowly crawled to its spider, no longer than a paperclip, continued to close onto its prey. This spider, the black widow spider, finally reached its prey and begun to slowly cover its prey with its sticky, inescapable silk. Line 4 weeks later, the 1-week break between graduation and genin team placement. Naruto was leaning against a wooden wall with his eyes closed, his upper face hidden in the room's shadow. He was dressed in the normal jounin attire and wore the black head protector on his forehead. His red spiky hair spilled over the head protector and almost reached his eyes. Naruto suddenly opened his eyes. His bright blue eyes gazed around the room until they met another pair of brown eyes. He stared into those brown eyes for a moment. Then his gaze moved to the person behind the set of brown eyes. A woman with jet black hair and eyes stood behind her. The woman was fair-skinned, average height, and had quite a slender figure. She wore a black-bluish kimono with white trimmings. Naruto gave the woman a slight nod, and the woman returned it back. Naruto's had suddenly moved out of the shadow and into the light. Any word? The woman with the brown eyes looked up at Naruto. Word on who? Mito or the Akatsuki? Naruto paused for a moment. He debated with himself for a moment before answering. Both. I want to know about both of them. Granny Tsunade. Tsunade gave an unladylike snort. You know that when a person wants a favor, they usually ask politely. Naruto rolled his eyes and sighed. He then looked up to the woman behind Tsunade and watched her share a silent chuckle. "Shizen, can you tell Tsunade to stop being such a stubborn hag?" Tsunade glared at Naruto. Shizen shook her head and looked down at the young jounin. "I don't know Naruto. Sounds like some manners might do some good." Naruto rolled his eyes and finally gave in. "Lady Tsunade, can you please tell me about the whereabouts of Mito and any information about the Akatsuki?" Tsunade snickered at Naruto's attempt of using manners. She then pulled out a sake bottle, which caused Shizen to give Tsunade a threatening glare. Tsunade waved her off as she poured herself a drink. "Shizen, one drink won't hurt." Shizen suddenly lashed out at the sake bottle and pulled it away from Tsunade. "Then you won't be needing this. If you're only taking one drink." Shizen took the bottle and quickly walked out of the room. Tsunade looked down at the small cup in her hand. She then shot down the glass and looked at Naruto. "Manners don't suit you, brat." Tsunade suddenly cleared her throat. "Mito? Well, she's off with Jiraiya, and honestly I couldn't tell you where they are. The less people who know the better." For a moment Naruto believed that Tsunade was not trusting him. Then he looked outside. "So, what you're saying is that you have no idea where they are?" Tsunade smirked. "I guess you could put it that way." "And the Akatsuki?" asked Naruto. "What about that Toby fella? Any connections?" "We haven't been able to gather much information. Everything you know is all we have." Tsunade shook her head. Naruto stared at the Hokage monument for a moment. He felt a sense of oddity as he stared at Tsunade's stone face. He then turned back and faced Tsunade. "I'd like to make a request." Tsunade rose an eyebrow. "Let me guess. You want to hunt down Toby." Naruto paused for a moment. The room was filled with a tense silence. Naruto looked up at Tsunade. "Yeah, I think that I might be able to find some clues if I go back to the hidden mist. Then I'll move from there." Tsunade brought her hands to her chins and rested her elbows on the table. "And who exactly do you plan to take on this mission?" Naruto looked Tsunade in the eye. "I was hoping if you would let me take Yuna and Sai. They both specialize in stealth and tracking, so they would be very beneficial for the mission. For the fourth member, I will let you decide. Hopefully someone with much experience, since this will be boarding an S-rank mission if we encounter Toby." Tsunade gave a slight smirk. "Will, you're acting as if I've already authorized the mission." Not a flicker of emotion appeared on Naruto's face. He kept his calm composure and asked, "Will you not? This Toby guy is a major threat, whether he is with the Akatsuki or not." Out of nowhere, Shizen re-entered the room, a small folder in her arms. She tried to cross the room. "So, have you debriefed him on his new assignment already?" Naruto felt a tiny smirk sneak across his lips. "So, she was already planning this? I thought this might have been a bit harder." Then to Naruto's confusion, Tsunade shook her head. "No." Then she looked at Naruto. "Your request is denied." For a moment Naruto stayed silent. Shizen gave Tsunade a confused look. Then suddenly Naruto exploded from his chair. "Why not? What could possibly be any more important?" Shizen nearly dropped the folder in her arms and watched with worry as Naruto leaned over Tsunade's desk. Naruto was inches away from Tsunade's face. He could smell the alcohol from her hot breath. "I see no reason for you to deny me without going any further into my request. All I told you were the people I wanted to take along." Tsunade suddenly grabbed Naruto by the wrist. "I said no, and that's final." Naruto attempted to smack Tsunade's hand away, but her iron grip was too much for Naruto. Naruto glared into Tsunade's eyes, and his Sharingan suddenly flared into life. "Why? Do you want to let more people die? Was the third Hokage not enough?" Shizen gasped as she heard Naruto mention the third. Naruto. Tsunade's eyes were suddenly hidden by the shadow of her bangs. Then all at once she threw a lightning fist punch at Naruto. The moment her fist slammed into Naruto, he burst into a cloud of crows. Tsunade glared as she looked around the room and stared at Naruto leaning against the wall. Shizen gave a small eep as Tsunade slammed her desk into the wall. She then stormed over to Naruto and grabbed him from the shirt collar. Listen here, Naruto. You're nothing but a little brat. I'm the Hokage, and my word is final. Now stop being a little baby, because Granny decided not to grant your wish. Naruto glared into Tsunade's eyes. Why? Why don't you let me go after them? Since the moment I've returned from the mist, I've done nothing relating to the Akatsuki. You've kept me close to the village, and haven't let me any further than 25 miles from this place. Tsunade suddenly let go of Naruto, and suddenly turned around. Do you really have a death wish, Naruto? Naruto fixed his collar, and gave Tsunade a weak reply. No. Well, it surely does not seem like that, yelled Tsunade as she turned around. As Hokage, I'm also in charge of taking care of the well-being of my shinobi. As so I've decided that you will no longer be taking part of any missions concerning the Akatsuki. What? Asked Naruto in anger. Why not? Tsunade glared at Naruto. Not until you prove to me that you've changed. For Kami's sake, 45 A-rank missions and 15 S-rank missions. Naruto, I understand you were once part of my AMBU, but that's high for even a veteran AMBU. You were only in there for a year. Naruto suddenly looked down to the ground. But you ordered me to... No, I didn't. You would tag along with several other teams whenever they requested extra help. Of course that's perfectly normal, but you tagged along almost every time, yelled Tsunade. Naruto looked back. So? Well, because of your reckless attitude, I'm forbidding you from taking anything higher than B rank until I decide so. What? Now you're just being crazy. What did you call me? You heard me, you crazy hag. That's enough. Stop bickering, you two, shouted Shizen. Having had enough, a rare moment of anger filled the raven-haired woman. She walked over to Naruto and slammed a file into his chest. She then turned around and dragged Tsunade back to her chair. Shizen quickly cleared the debris and pulled out a scroll, unrolling it and signing a few hand seals. A new desk quickly appeared. Naruto's sweat dropped at Shizen's rather quick method to replacing the desk. Probably happens a lot. Naruto looked down at the gray folder and slammed it into Tsunade's desk. I deny your mission. Tsunade gave a sudden chuckle. Mission? This isn't a mission. It's an assignment. Naruto rose an eyebrow. There's a difference. Yeah, because a shinobi can decline a mission, but they can't deny a direct assignment from the Hokage. Line ring. Ring! Naruto stood outside the academy. He watched as many new genins emerged from the building. He studied every little brat, until his gaze fell upon Hanabi Hyuga. He watched as the little heiress moved about the crowd until she reached Hayashi Hyuga. Naruto watched how politely Hanabi moved and acted. Even to her own father, Naruto could see the strict manners usually drilled into the Hyuga. For a moment Naruto and Hayashi's gaze met, but they quickly chose to ignore each other. Turning around, Naruto watched as Konohamaru Sarutobi appeared from the academy. The boy hoot and hollered about finally becoming a genin. Naruto gave a small smile and watched as Asuma Sarutobi told him to shush it down. Naruto was about to call out to Asuma when he suddenly felt a tug at his shirt. Looking down, he gazed into the warmth of Haruka's eyes. Shimmering on her forehead was her new headband. Naruto gave Haruka a smile and lifted her up. Naruto watched as Haruka blushed. Don't do that. I'm not a little kid anymore. I'm now a full-fledged ninja of the leaf. Naruto gave a surprised look and put her down. I guess you're not my little baby sister anymore, huh? Of course not. I'm now Haruka Uchiha, genin of the hidden leaf, shouted Haruka. Naruto ruffled her hair and looked down at Haruka. He could see the pout on the edge of her lip. Congratulations, Haruka. Naruto tilted his head to the side and watched as Ken and Katashi came running out of the academy. They both looked almost the same in Naruto's eyes. The only difference from before he left the mist was the fact that they've grown a few inches. Ken, Katashi, how are you doing? Great, Naruto, shouted Ken with excitement, as Katashi just gave him a nod. Ken looked at his closest friend and shook his head. You have to stop being so antisocial, Katashi. Naruto sighed, as he placed his hand on his face. His eyes looked down at Haruka, who looked quite amused. Yup, same Katashi and Ken. Always arguing. Katashi gritted his teeth. I'm not being antisocial, you idiot. Yeah, you are. Why don't you actually say hi to Naruto, instead of that ridiculous head nod of yours? Just shut up, Ken. Naruto understands what I mean by a slight nod. He's a genius unlike your idiot ass. You team, want to fight. Naruto then watched as Haruka moved in between. You guys stop fighting. We just became genins, so act like it. Naruto looked at surprise at Haruka. A mixture of happiness and pride crossed his face. He then watched as Katashi and Ken finally stopped fighting. Then all at once that changed. Haruka brought her hand up and pointed at herself. If it makes you guys feel any better, you're both stupid compared to me. I mean, I did graduate the same year as you guys, and I'm a year younger. Haruka gave a boasting smile, which had an immediate effect on Ken and Katashi. Ken and Katashi gave each other a quick look and then nodded. Katashi crossed his arms and looked at Haruka. So what? Where's your Sharingan? Ken gave a boasting smile of his own and looked at Haruka, his one Tomo Sharingan blazing to life. So, how about it, Haruka? Where's your Sharingan? Naruto slammed his palm into his face again. He then looked over to Haruka and could see the pain in her face. To Naruto's knowledge, Haruka was greatly concerned about her Sharingan. She had yet to activate, and was starting to believe it would never activate. Naruto watched with growing concern as Haruka started at the groan, her eyes shut with anger. Naruto, being the overprotective brother, he was glared at both of Katashi and Ken. Katashi and Ken suddenly gazed into the eyes of Naruto and felt a sense of danger roll down their back. For a moment, Naruto stopped glaring at them and let out a sigh. Then Naruto spoke. Katashi, Ken, stop boasting about your Sharingan. It will only make you arrogant. Naruto then looked down at Haruka. As for you, stop concerning yourself over your Sharingan. It will activate at the right moment. Trust me. Naruto watched as Haruka looked up from the ground. Her big onyx eyes stared into Naruto. What if I never activate it? Naruto shook his head. You'll activate it, because you are Haruka of the Uchiha clan. Naruto watched as a bit of confidence rang through Haruka's face. Naruto gave his younger sister a smile, and then turned to the rest of the Uchiha graduates. I'm tired of all this nonsense. How about we go somewhere else? And you guys tell me about your graduation. Naruto watched as Ken jumped into the air. All right, let's go get something to eat. It better not be any of your crazy dessert places, Ken, threatened Katashi as he looked at Ken. Ken shrugged his shoulders. I was thinking about getting ice cream. Ice cream? Asked Haruka as she was suddenly revived from her depressed mood. Naruto watched as Haruka and Ken argued with Katashi about where to go. Naruto simply sighed and knew who exactly was going to win. He left behind the three and begun to walk to the closest ice cream parlor. Line. Team placement. Naruto leaned against the entrance of the academy. He took a deep breath as he admired the morning sun rise. He looked up to the sky and silently thought to himself, am I really going to become a Jounin sensei? Naruto clenched his fist as he recalled his time with Tsunade. He then reached into his jacket and pulled out a small piece of paper. On it were the 3 lucky genins that would be assigned to him: Haruka Uchiha, Hanabi Hyuga, Konohamaru Sarutobi. Naruto gritted his teeth as he stared at the 3 names. She planned this team perfectly. She made sure I couldn't fail them no matter what. Haruka, Konohamaru. She gave me both of them because she knows I couldn't purposely fail those 2. Naruto looked at the 2 names and gave a sigh. Those 2 were Tsunade's insurance for me possibly just failing them. Hanabi Hyuga. Naruto stared at the name with a bit of confusion in his head. This is the only one I can't understand. Why would she give me the heiress of the clan, the soon-to-be head of the Hyuga clan, Hanabi Hyuga? Naruto stopped and pondered for a moment. Political pressure from failing this team? No! Naruto bit his lip and rubbed the back of his head. Who knows? Naruto placed a piece of paper into his jacket and stopped leaning on the door. He then gave a slight stretch and walked into the academy. Naruto walked down the hall. He turned a corner and then came to the door he was looking for, room 110. Without even knocking, Naruto walked into the room. He was greeted with a shocked Irika, who was in the middle of giving his usual graduation speech. Naruto? What are you doing here? Naruto looked around the room, and he quickly met the eyes of Katashi, Ken, and Haruka. They were sitting together in the middle of the classroom. He then looked around looking for his two other students. Konohamaru was sitting in the front with two kids Naruto had never seen before. He gave Naruto a wave, but Naruto chose to ignore it. His eyes moved quickly to the back of the room, and he found Hanabi Hyuga. She was sitting in the corner. Naruto felt a bit of annoyance looking at her perfect posture. Hyuga's... Naruto? Naruto turned around and looked at Irika. How's it going, Irika-sensei? Naruto watched as a conflicted look passed over Irika's face. Naruto assumed that Irika probably wanted to lecture him on something, but felt it was outplaced since Naruto now outranked him. Irika shook his head. I was doing good until you barged into my classroom. I thought I taught you better than that. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. I was told to report here by Lady Tsunade. I came to pick up my little minions. Irika sighed, as he could already tell Naruto was not taking this seriously. So, you are. Well, you're going to have to wait a bit. Naruto shook his head. Nah, I'll be taking them now. Irika-sensei, this guy couldn't possibly already be a jounin, asked a girl. Naruto looked over and stared at her. He could see her squirm under his gaze, but Naruto didn't care. One thing he hated, besides the Akatsuki, was when people underestimate him. Naruto looked over at the girl. Why not? The girl was a bit surprised when Naruto answered her. The girl hesitated for a moment, but she quickly gained her confidence because you're only like 3 years older than us. Naruto then watched as Haruka suddenly stood up. Shut up, Kiko. Ken soon followed behind Haruka. Naruto is the one that saved our classroom 2 years ago. Naruto then watched as the so-called Kiko suddenly tried to step back. Wait a minute, that was you? Naruto then watched with surprise as the whole classroom suddenly begun to stand up. He's that guy. No wonder he's a jounin. He defeated that bone guy when not even the Chunins couldn't. I hope I get his team. Ezity down, shouted Irika as his head suddenly grew in size. Naruto watched as everyone quieted down and sat down. Irika took a deep breath and looked at Kiko. Yes, he is a Juin Kiko. Naruto is the youngest S-rank ninja we have in Konoha, so don't allow his age to deceive you. Naruto watched in amusement as looks of shock ran through the room. Naruto let out a smile. All right, Hanabi Hyuga. Naruto watched as the Hyuga princess looked at Naruto with a calculating look. Konohamaru Saratobi, Yahoo I get Naruto-sensei, yelled out Konohamaru. Haruka Uchiha. Yes, yes, yelled out Haruka as she jumped from her chair. Naruto then cleared his throat. You have 2 minutes to get to the rooftop. If you don't make it in 2 minutes, you're all being held back. See ya. Then they watched as Naruto shimmered out of existence. All of a sudden, the class heard a breaking of glass. They turned to the window and watched as the Hyuga princess broke the window. She then jumped out of the window and begun climbing up the building. Haruka and Konohamaru were both confused, and then a light bulb went off in their head. Haruka suddenly begun to sign a series of hand signs. I'm not as good as brother. Shunshin Jutsu, a cloud of smoke covered Haruka, and once the smoke dispersed, she was no longer there. Konohamaru screamed, What the hell? I can't fail here. He suddenly pushed the kid out of the way and ran out of the room. Irika sighed as he watched Naruto's little stunt. Never change, Naruto. What the hell? This isn't fair. I wanted to be on Naruto's team, shouted Ken as anime tears begun to roll down his face. Irika was about to say something when a voice rang through the room. Sorry, Ken and Katashi, but I was only allowed to take one Uchiha. lied Naruto as he sat in Irika's chair. And honestly, I didn't want to ruin the little duo you and Katashi make. For a moment, Ken stared at Naruto in shock, but he quickly understood what had happened earlier. Irika turned around and stared at Naruto. Impressive as always, Naruto. I thought you had used a shunshin earlier, but it was just a genjutsu. Naruto smirked. I guess so. I'll see you around, Irika. Naruto turned to class and gave him a slight bow. See you around, kiddos. Line Konomaru ran up the stairs as fast as his legs could carry him. He finally reached the last flight of stairs and stared down the door to the roof. He bursted through the door and he raced forward. The sun's rays blinded him momentarily, but then his eyes adjusted. He ended up face to face with a crow. What the hell? He staggered backwards and fell onto his bottom. Konohamaru, stop goofing around, shouted Haruka. Konohamaru looked to his side and was annoyed to see Haruka and Hanabi standing side by side. Konohamaru stood up and stared at both of them. That wasn't fair. You both were ready for that. Hanabi gave Konohamaru a stern look. A ninja must be ready for anything. Expect the unexpected. Konohamaru growled at Hanabi. Stop being so smug, Hanabi. It annoys me. Hey, kiddos. Konohamaru fell back as the crow from earlier begun to talk. A talking bird? The name's Crow, shouted the bird. I'm Lord Naruto's favorite summon. Hanabi eyes the bird suspiciously as she stared at a seal over the bird's left eye. Why would his eyes have a seal on it? Hey, Crow. It's been a long time, shouted Haruka as she stared at the crow with a smile. The crow flew around the air a bit, and he suddenly landed on Haruka's shoulders. Hey there, little Haruka. You haven't changed a bit. What? But I'm like a lot taller now, argued Haruka as she looked down at herself. The crow's head twitched a little and looked at Haruka. I wouldn't know. You humans look the same to me. Where's Naruto-sensei? Asked Hanabi out of nowhere. He told us to be here in less than 2 minutes. Oh, Naruto told me you would be an impatient one. Hanabi rose an eyebrow, but the crow suddenly flew off Haruka's shoulder. It glided in the air for a moment before landing on the edge of the roof. Naruto wanted me to debrief you on your test. Test? Asked Kanemaru. What test? The crow gave a crude laugh. Do you really think you've already become Genins? What are you talking about? Asked Haruka. The bird got up and flew around a bit more. Then he landed on Hanabi's shoulders. For a moment, Hanabi felt annoyed, but for some reason the bird's presence calmed her nerves. This test has a 33.3% passing rate. If you fail, you will be sent back to the academy. Hanabi's eyes widened. What? The bird flew off Hanabi's shoulder and gave her a gloating glance. You have until sundown to find Naruto. Once you have found him, as a team you must take away the bell hanging from his waist. Good luck. Then all at once the bird poofed out of existence. For a moment the 3 Genins remained silent, and all at once they shouted in panic. Line! Naruto sat in a U-shaped room. He sat in a cushioned orange seat. A book was in one hand and a brush in the other. Sitting across the room was Sasuke. Naruto looked up from his book and stared at Sasuke. So, I heard you will be taking Katashi and Ken. Sasuke nodded. Yeah, I am. I heard you're taking the Hyuga princess. Naruto stopped writing in his book and looked up at Sasuke. Yeah, that's probably my biggest concern with my team. Sasuke gave his friend a nod. Yeah, one wrong move, and Lord Hayashi will want your head. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Life wouldn't be fun without a bit of risk. Well, we should get going, that I honestly don't want to do the same thing as Kakashi-sensei, replied Sasuke. Naruto gave a chuckle. There's no need. I've already contacted my team. Sasuke rose an eyebrow. What are you talking about? Oh, nothing, Sasuke. Just go along. Don't worry about me, replied, rolled his eyes, and walked out of the door. Naruto looked out the window and gave smirk. Good luck, my little minions. Line, what do you mean you can't use your Byakugan? That stupid crow. He placed a seal on my shoulder. Line, Thank you for watching final part of What If Naruto Was Neglected by His Family and Had the Strongest Sharingan? I enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Anime T23 for more exciting What If scenarios and anime content. Hit the notification bell icon so you never miss an update. See you in the next episode.